Martial arts, karate, I bust you down like Itachi. Cause you your jit me hachi. Straight kamikaze, I'm talking the bodies as I go straight brawling. Y'all niggas could hardly be me, I'm not part of the sea. I'm part in the sea like Moses. No psychosis or hocus pocus. I put importance to stay focused. Ignore all the BS on my timeline. I throw a lifeline for those thinking I ain't about mine. Hit you upside your head with a tie iron. Can't be your time if it's my time. The set to be patient, I'm patiently waiting. It's driving me crazy. Cause lately the odds that I'm facing is basic and basically tragically hating. Anticipating my fall. They want it all. They want it all for themselves. So I make the call. No need to stall. I go and get them all off of the shelf. I take affirmative action. I'm blasting and laughing of how you're reacting to my satisfaction of cashing injections and Benjis and Wilsons. The life that you always imagined. Brother from the goal. Yeah. If you ever see him go, it's Holocaust or Holy Ghost. Overcome or overflow. Yeah. Either way, it's overdose. Watch you walk or comatose, penetrating to your soul. Yeah. Tit for tat and toe for toe, pound for pound and blow for blow. You would never see me fold. Claiming that what you don't know, that is how you get exposed. Left for dead with bullet holes.
Leave it alone. Promises all day.
Yo, what it do? It's your boy Vega. You already know what it is. It's the Chop Shop where we chop up anything and everything. Nothing is off the table. That's what we're calling it today because this is probably going to be the most diverse conversation I've had on here with a panel. And who best do it with than the homies that I've done the best podcast with. We got Real Talk Productions, Silos in the building.
What's good, man? Happy to be back.
Fellow
coffee connoisseur. For
there you go.
We're on decaf right now, just to let people know.
Hey, right. It's getting night. It's nighttime already. We gotta, cool down. But man, guys, I obviously hit y'all up because, like I told Silos, I just feel like the best conversations I've had up to this point are with you guys. I feel like we have good, diverse opinions about things. Some things we agree on, some things we have different perspectives. And I feel like that'll bring out the best out of any conversation we can have, whatever topic we choose to have, Sure. Fatal J in the building. Matter of fact, that's another homie right there. Hey, we got to get on that Dune talk. What it do, Fatal? Oh, man. Is that Metallica? You know what? That's a good question. No, you know what? That's not Metallica, bro. It's actually a sample off of Naruto. It's a Naruto sample. But don't tell them because they might take it.
Really? I didn't know that. That's why I'm like, yo, I felt this beat before.
Because they be serious about it, man. They be real serious about it. Man, it's annoying, really.
Well, you good on Twitter, but
the amount of like music I'd actually have out there already, if it wasn't for them being very strict about like samples and properties, man, it's a lot's been turned down because of that. But that being said, fellas, welcome back to the Chop Shop, man.
Yes, sir.
For sure,
man. Be here, man. Appreciate you having us.
Like you said, we have some good convos. If people aren't familiar with how the homie Vega does it, like he said, it's about everything and entertainment. We had some good convos like in the middle of that Kendrick Drake. When Kendrick was like dropping a song a day, like that was crazy.
Yeah.
That feels like so long ago, man.
It did.
Like so long
ago. It kind of was, but it's still relevant somehow, which is why that is definitely one of the things we will talk about. But I figured in light of recent events, why not discuss that which is pretty recent? Zack Snyder reposting the homies post. What was it, Floyd, right? Floyd Lawton? It was his post,
Floyd
right?
Lawton was the account. Yep.
Right. So that I thought was pretty epic. Considering, I think the fact that it just, for me, I was like, okay, Zack Snyder is very much still engaged. It felt like it's been a while for me personally. Like I haven't seen much activity on his end, symbiotic with the movement or with the fan base of that nature, especially DC things related. Obviously, and I'm not knocking him for it. He's got a lot of things he's got going on. He's obviously been busy with the Rebel Moon franchise and whatever else he's got up his sleeve over with Netflix. I'm not, that's not really my field. I know. So you probably have more information on those kind of things. But when I saw that, I'm like, oh, okay. He's very much, for me, I felt he's very much still got his ear to the ground as always. And I guess the question is it saying something to us? Does it say anything to us, or is that just him being him in the sense? And what I mean by that is he obviously does appreciate his fans, like he really does, and to the point where he'll even support ideas of his fans, not necessarily, I guess, indicating of anything per se, but it could be that. And I guess that's what makes this very fluid and unknown. Is like, okay, is this him just, vibing with us because he rocks with us like that? Or is this him indicating something? What are your guys' thoughts? Whoever wants to go first, go ahead and shoot.
Go ahead, Carlos.
I mean, when it comes to Snyder, he always does things for a reason. In my book, I believe. Like, I do agree with what you said. He is very supportive when it comes to his fans' ideas, and was saying like, that would be a dope idea. That's very dope and stuff like that. He said that in the past, but he, like I keep saying, everything is for a reason. Like, especially, I don't know if we want to touch on this too, but like the whole photo with him and Gunn too, like that people really think that was just like a get back, like, oh, we just want to make the internet go crazy. Snyder isn't that. I mean, since what I've seen, he's never been that guy. There's always a reason, and conversations have been had. Now, whether it's right now, whether it's 10 years down the line, 5 years, whatever, we don't know. But definitely conversations are being had. And when you see this type of engagement, especially like when he reposted the Man of Steel stuff and all that, like we know he's still into DC. Like, he wants to do DC. So like, my thing is like it's never over till it's officially over. That's how I'm approaching this. So
for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with all sentiments that anything Zack Snyder does, it's always meant something, to the fandom. And Zack knows that. He always talked about leading up to release of Snyder Cut that, he saw the fandom so active. So Zack was like, let me drop this storyboard. And, and that just kept the thing moving. So it's to a point now where Zack, he can just trend instantly, at this point. And the fact now he's always been active on Vero, because people was like, well, this is kind of out of nowhere on Twitter. Zack normally doesn't do anything on Twitter unless something's about to come out. Right. All he did was retweet the tweet. Like, that's what's wild about all this, is that he didn't say anything. He just retweeted the dope tribute video that was out there. And then Jay Oliva was the one that quote tweeted and like, commented on it and stuff. And so that's just how Zack Snyder moves at this point. Does it mean anything? Is the question, right? I think the main thing we could take from that is, he hasn't moved on. His ears are still to the streets as far as DC. And I've been saying for the longest, no matter what he has lined up, we talk about the Netflix stuff, the 300 prequel with Warner Brothers. He has that police drama that he's doing as well. No matter what he gets involved with, he's still got some Rebel Moon stuff, Army of the Dead stuff. Yeah. I still believe he's going to do DC again. Yeah, I believe he's going to do DC again in some shape or form. And I think just this retweet, along with the picture with James Gunn, is just saying, there's different avenues that I think Zack can go. And this is just I take this more of just as a reminder that, I'm still watching, DC is not off the table. Everyone's been retweeting that quote. He said, hey, if a third party gets it, cool. If Warner's has him back to do it, cool. So that's how I took it. Like, Zack's like, hey, I'm, this ain't dead yet. So yeah.
Right. No, for sure. And you know me, I'm always, I'm always playing devil's advocate with these teams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to, I like to challenge the status quo, right?
Right.
Like the Lakers Celtics. Yeah. Inside joke, I
guess. Now, in all fairness, there's obviously, people have their, their different opinions of things, and then what these things can mean, and is it more? Are we looking more into it than we should, and things of that nature, right? So, some would say that, let's just say, when it comes to that photo of Gunn and Snyder, some would say that's Gunn using Snyder, and Snyder just somewhat being a homie, I guess, and like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll take this photo with you, you know what I'm saying, and we can put it out there, and it's gonna help you with what you got coming up, hopefully. That's that I can do that much for you, He's obviously always gonna up talk, DC projects or things of that nature. He's gonna be like, I'm excited to see it, whatever. That's what he did, because he's done that already. You know what I'm saying? So like, I have empathy for that argument, because it's happened before, right? Where they'll use Snyder and his fan base to promote things, so to speak, and hopefully bring them out to view things, all in hopes that we're gonna get what we want, but then we never do, or at least we still haven't, I should probably say. Is that, can we at least, I guess, maybe acknowledge that could also be true, rather than
that's a fair a fair argument. Like, that's a fair retort as far as to that. Now, as far as I think how we should take the picture with James Gunn, I don't think this is saying, okay, Snyder fandom, go support James Gunn Superman. First, the entire fandom is not going to support the Silvio, just to keep it real. And then, because there's I always talk about the polar opposites of that situation, where they are Gunn glazers, where they're gonna rock with anything James Gunn does, no matter what. They probably came over from Marvel or something. And then on the separate side, there are some of us Snyder fans, because there's a middle ground too, and that's really I have an audience with that middle ground, because they kind of see it how I see it. But the polar is that, Warner Brothers, they didn't finish the Snyderverse, so they ain't gonna rock with anything. Like, you may call them the boycott crew or whatever, And hey, like I said, I don't knock anyone where you like, I don't want to support this company. You have that right. You totally have that right. Like, I never, like, during when Reeves Batman came out, that same side was like, we're not rocking with nothing. Some of them boycotted Black Adam, which I disagreed with, but still, there's still some amongst them that I'm still cool with. So my thing is that polar side is not Zach showing up in a picture with Gunn. That's not going to get them to support Superman. So and Zach was totally he knew exactly what he was doing in that picture. And again, how I take it is that it just conversation is open. And just where that can go and what that means. I mean, I'm just, hey, at the end of the day, Gunn is co-head of DC Studios, and Zach was in the building. He was in Warner Brothers. Like, we see the building he was in. So that's just how I take it. Overall.
There you go, and I feel like that's what's been missed. Because at first, I wouldn't lie to you, I thought the same thing. Like, they're trying to make peace between the fandoms, bring them all together. But then Sil covered it. I think he did a stream on it. You talked about how the location of that photo, and I think that's very important to like take in. These conversations are being had. Like, it's all a matter of if it happens, when it happens, all that good stuff. But yeah, it's just the conversations are being had, so that is something to at least be hopeful for. And I know that's saying a lot with everything that's happened in the past. Snyder fan myself, like I wanted this to come out. I wanted to see Justice League 2, see it in theaters. Right. But this is where we at now. It's still an opportunity to be had, and he's still there. He's still having these conversations. And the fact that and I know you guys touched on it as well back then, this prequel with 300, him being in that Warner Brothers, state, is like, he's back in there. Like, he's in there. He's doing this. So it's still a very big possibility, man. So that's how me personally how I'm taking it.
No, for sure. And I think for me, the way I would see it is like just take it with a grain of salt. Don't be too like over optimistic about these things. I only say that just because, like, again, I'm just naturally I'm thinking all things, you know what I'm saying? All angles. Why would he be there? How would you know what I'm saying? Like, is it necessarily that there is talks? I mean, I think it's that there's the possibility that there is. Yes. It's not that there is, but there's a possibility that there is. Just because in the end of the day, one thing that I am realizing, the more I like pay attention to like credits of films and things, is that Warner Brothers apparently allows other movie companies and things of that nature to actually use their studios, like their movie lots and things of that nature, even their sound rooms and things of that. Warner Brothers actually has a massive amount of, like, I guess, different properties that exist within Hollywood that Disney uses, that Sony will use, Fox, whatever, like all these other guys, they're all using Warner Brothers, whether it's their sound rooms, their opera rooms, their movie lots, so it's like, Warner Brothers somehow still has a hand in a lot of these, things, you know what I'm saying? And could it just be like, again, it's like, that's why Zack Snyder ran into him, you know what I'm saying? It's because, well, like you said, he's also working on that prequel, or it could be that Netflix is using one of their lots for something, one of their sound rooms, one of their, you know what I'm saying? And Gunn, seize the moment, hey,
let me get some points off this,
right quick, you know what I mean? Because Zach is in the lot, you know what I'm saying? All that being said, I feel like all these things are possible, and but at the same time, it's like because all things are possible, I definitely also am not going to rule out that it could be Zach is seizing the opportunity to talk with Gunn. Him and Gunn are having conversations, whether it's something sooner down the line or something later down the line, whether it's what avenues could be taken, or whether it's like you said, so just starting the conversation to so that he also has it as a like possible option.
Right.
I'll be talked to about this.
We can't rule out. We can't because I get, like, I mean, obviously as Snyder fans, we've been in this for years now, and so I get like there's a side of this fandom, or there's individuals where it's just very protective of Zach, and like I think we all are, but there's some where it's like they almost acting like Zach can't even think for himself. Like, oh, did the Gun trick him and take the pictures? Like, Zach knew exactly what he was doing. Zach knew exactly what he was doing, what that picture meant, and what that would mean for the internet, right? That picture. So we gotta realize, Zach is very aware of what he's doing. You know what I mean? And
Zach is more powerful than a lot of people give him credit.
Yeah, these questions that we have, it's like, those questions will be there. But as far as Zach's judgment, like, because when he signed back on for the prequel 300, I hope Zach got the right contract. I hope I'm pretty sure Zach knows the business. It's like, you know what I mean?
He's been through it enough to know like what he needs, what he wants.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
To work. Yeah. And that's the thing. I feel like I've heard we've heard him talk about this before, and granted, like, you don't compromise for sure, and I believe he believes that, but at the same time, that's the politics of things. Even in Hollywood, you have to find the middle ground. Like, so I imagine there's some things he had, like, for instance, Netflix, right? Like with Rebel Moon, I'm pretty sure if he had it his way, it would have just been all the director's cuts coming out. No PG-13, Netflix version of it. But because he understands that, sometimes you just have to come to the middle ground with the person that's actually helping you put this together. It isn't just, it isn't all you, so I imagine he knows that there's where the middle ground is. And I think he'll always try and get the best out of the deal, regardless.
And Netflix is coming with the money. So, that's why Zach and his camp was just like, okay, I mean, you know, he wanted to just go like the director's cuts, which it feels like a different film. You know what I mean? And if it's one thing, you know, again, and I speak freely about all this stuff, and I, you know, not to trigger people, but it's just that was an L by Netflix, that rollout of Rebel Moon. Like, I mean, again, I enjoyed the PG cuts. I enjoyed it for what it was, you know, for families, because they can't handle this director's cut. The first 5 minutes of the director's cut, I'm like, nah, like I got like little nephews and nieces. I'm like, nah, y'all can't watch it. Y'all can't watch this. Yeah, this is the first couple minutes. Like, nah, don't even. So I get, you know, they wanted a more accessible crowd, but it's just the rollout of those cuts. I mean, they should have released them both at the same time. Just in my opinion.
That's what I think too. Like,
for those that want
hindsight.
Yeah, because all views went to the same bucket. My friends over at Samba TV, they went through a lot with the Snyder fandom, Samba TV, but they were the main ones actually giving positive numbers for the Snyder cut. You know, I had those videos. I still have those videos on that, and they said no matter if it was the regular Snyder cut and the gray version, it all goes in one bucket as views. So with the Rebel Moon, PG, and the director's cut, that's all the same bucket. Right. So you still have fools on YouTube now saying, or on Twitter, oh, the Rebel Moon didn't get a lot of views. Look, part 1 did this, part 2 did this. It's like you got to add all that together. That's all the same viewership, meaning it was top 5. Right. Rebel Moon was for Netflix worldwide. So it's just the point with that is just, I just wish Netflix would have handled that better. I mean, Zach, in business, you trust your business partners. They got the money, right? And they chose to break it up like that. It's like y'all had a clear W to kind of diluted it. Yeah,
I agree. That makes sense. Like, that's in hindsight, that's what I was thinking about the other day when I was watching it. I'm like, they should have just released it together. Like, I just don't understand why they didn't. I mean, I like back then I thought to myself, okay, I know what they're trying to do. I get why they're doing it. They're trying to sell an IP that's going to be for a broader audience rather than just an adult audience. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why don't you just release like both the director's cut and your version at one time, at the same time, part 1. And then that's why for those that like are adults and can watch the director's cut version, they'll watch that. You know, if they're going to watch it with their kids, they'll watch you know what I'm saying? But give them the option to watch both at the same time so that there's no there's no diluted conversation being had about, you know, I don't know if I like this movie anymore because it just, you know, it isn't really what it was supposed to be until you finally got it way, you know.
And it kind of missed the moment. Like, I remember when they debuted the PG cut, like, in, you know, they did select theaters, right? It was like screenings or whatever, premiere. And I have, you know, certain, you know, journalist friends I've networked with for the past couple of years, and they were in that premiere. And they text me like from their seat, like when it was about to end, they were just like, they should have released a Snyder cut of this. It was like, and it's funny, that journalist person, it's probably as shield as you can get, right? But they had everyone saying like, man, you probably should just went full Snyder. Yeah, you know, especially on Netflix. Beginning. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, I just feel it's a missed opportunity because when you got the shields, like if they see this, I'm not trying to make fun of them, but it's just they know who they are. But it's like when you got the shields saying like, oh, you know, I want to see Zach go all the way with this, and you missed that opportunity. Like, what did it take? Like 6 months, 7 months before they did the director's cut. You just kind of missed the moment, you know. Just in my opinion.
No, I agree. So, I guess to stay on topic, right? I know for sure, like the other conversation that I saw kind of like making its rounds, I guess you could say in the Twitter sphere of things or the X sphere of things, is if the movie comes out animated, if the rest of the story comes out animated, are we still watching it? Are we still supporting it? You know, would that be Zach compromising? You know, and is it a loss or an L? And do we, I guess, still fight, whatever the case may be, for the live action version? What are your guys' thoughts on that? I'm sure you guys saw what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And honestly, shout out to the homie that posted it. He's, real cool guy. I like him. You know what I'm saying? And I know when he puts something out there like that, it's to start the conversation. He's very much just trying to start the conversation. It wasn't to ruffle any feathers or anything of that nature or push buttons. It's to genuinely have a conversation piece about this topic, because what if that is what we get, rather than the live action version? What if, what I'm saying? We don't know.
Yeah.
So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, for me personally, and I'll be real quick with it. I mean, obviously, I would love a live action version, clear cut, with the nice budget, all that stuff. Sit in the movie theater, being able to see that. But I'm a big animation guy to begin with. I love anime. I love all that stuff. So if we were just to even get the project, I just want the project to be done. So like, if it is anime, if it, comic book, whatever it is, like, I want the product. Like, I need it. I'm excited for it. So yeah, I would love live action, but if it was animated, I think with what we got with Twilight of the Gods, with what Zach can give us in animation, I feel like a lot of people aren't really thinking about that as well. Because Twilight of the Gods, I mean, for me, that was I can't wait for the new season, man. I mean, we haven't heard much of the new season for Twilight of the Gods, but like what Zach gave us with that, like it was like eating popcorn each episode, man. Like, so just imagine with Justice League, the characters, what he could do with the story he wants to finish. He could go all out. So that's how I see it.
Okay.
But, not many people agree with that.
Who, if you don't mind me asking, Vega, who put that original idea out?
I saw
or just a recent
on my feed. I saw that it was Millennial Mike.
Okay, that's a homie. Yeah. No, believe me.
You know what I mean?
He does start conversations.
You know what I'm saying? We know Mike. It's like he's not like trying to,
right.
This is him generally trying to start a conversation.
No, he's like supreme with like devil's advocate. Like I like having conversations with him. Like it's been spaces with him and stuff I've done, and he's cool.
Right.
And okay, so the question is the compromise. Well, as far as the animated idea, that conversation already has happened. So I just hope people know that the animation conversation has already happened. And my understanding is that Zach kind of knows overall the fandom overall may not fully rock with just straight up animation. Right. That's just my understanding of it. But as far as it being an idea, it's got to be some kind of live action component. And then if they want to, in addition, do some animated and the comic, like Scott Snyder talked about the comic that he was going to do for Snyderverse. So it's just, I look at animation, it can be an option. I don't see it as a replacement. Like Justice League 2 has to be Justice League 2. Like I don't see it as an animated option. But if there's like a additional story, some kind of additional project, I can see that. But animating, finishing the arc as animation, they've already had that conversation. And I mean, as far as I know, didn't go forward with it. So I know some people are still kind of, I guess, pushing for it, and that's cool. I mean, hey, I'm at a point now, Vega. It comes like we've been through so many fights with the fandom and stuff. It's like whatever y'all want to do at this point, bro. Zach just got to do more DC, man. Like I'm not even going to shoot down people's ideas no more on stuff, but we can have that conversation because someone they animated, and y'all probably saw this in your timeline where they like in BVS when they was having that conversation, must there be a Superman? And you saw Superman, dragging that ship.
Right. Someone
animated just like those couple seconds.
Right.
And it looks good. I mean, it's just the work they did looks good.
Yeah.
Right.
Do I want an entire film like that? It's like, go watch Apocalypse War, Justice League.
Yeah,
War.
Right,
that's a Snyder.
That's top notch. That's top notch on my list.
Yeah. As a replacement, it's like, no, we need live. Like, if it's just merely you want to complete the nightmare sequence and show like a final fight with Darkseid, I would take that as like a final project. But that has to be live action. That just has to be, in my opinion.
Yeah. No. For me, I feel like what the sad part is, like, the more time goes forward, I'm feeling like there's a slight it makes it harder and harder for this live action to kind of like manifest itself.
Right.
And so I feel like there's a fork in the road that I think we will have to face eventually. And that's, it might be animated. And are you really not going to watch that? Here's a fact. If a animated version of Zack Snyder's storyline gets released tomorrow, I'd be more excited to watch that than any DC project coming out right now, live action. That's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're not wrong.
You know what I'm saying? Now, is that the way I want to see it? Is that the way I want to consume his story? No, because I want to see him do what he can do with the camera, with lights, with the sound. You know what I'm saying? Like with his, with his actors. I want to see that in its full manifestation, live action, of course. And that's the way I would want to see it, no matter what. But again, would I not watch an animated? Like, no, I'd be more excited to see that than anything DC right now. Anyways, that's just how that would go. Now, I feel like the other question we might have to ask ourselves is like we're running out of time. These actors are getting older. They're you know what I'm saying? Like they might have different interests. And I feel the next question we have to ask ourselves is, I guess one is, would all the actors come back? I haven't seen Ezra Miller do anything in a long time. Yeah. I don't know if we're going to get him back as the Flash. You know what I'm saying? Jason Momoa already signed on to do, I'm assuming, right? If he didn't sign on, he already agreed to be Lobo for.
He's already shooting Lobo.
So could he actually still be Aquaman now? I mean, I don't see what would be the problem, but again, there might be a conflict of interest or conflict of timing. Same thing with Wonder or Gal Gadot. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's got other things going on. Can she come back as Wonder Woman? Ben Affleck. These are all realistic questions that I'm like, man, like if we're going to be honest with ourselves, is it possible really and truly to make it happen again, or make it happen, I guess, continue where we left off? And if not, are we okay with recasting? I feel like that's another question we might have to
Yeah, that's a dangerous question right there.
You know what I mean?
But no, we do got to be real. We do got to be real about it. Like you said, let's just say just personal feelings aside, right? This is a chop shop, right? Personal feelings aside, if they said, hey, we are announcing animated Justice League 2 and 3 coming out, am I going to boycott it or something? No, like I would be like, yo, like I'm going to watch that. Like I want to see this story completed. So people do got to be kind of real about that. Now, am I pushing for animated? I'm not personally.
No,
right.
Some are, and some are open to that conversation, and that's cool. So, I mean, I'm just gonna be real about that. Like if they do it, I'm not gonna be mad. Okay,
sure.
Well, that's what
I'd be mad to a certain degree. I'd be disappointed. But I would not be excited to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I feel
like I can compartmentalize both feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, would I be disappointed I didn't get the live action I deserved, or that we all deserved as fans, that Zach deserved to release as a director, author, videographer type? Like, of course, I'd be hella disappointed just because I know what could have been done because of what he's already done and the majestic epicness of his films. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yes, I'd be disappointed, hella disappointed.
So that question,
at least see the rest of his story in animated form. Over, like I said, over anything else right now that's coming out anyways. No, I for sure run into the theater to see animated version of Zack Snyder's Jail 2 and 3 before I go see Superman Legacy or whatever the hell else is coming out that I have no interest in at the moment. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna keep it a buck, that's what I would do. I'd watch the animated Jail Zack Snyder movie in theater over whatever the hell they got going on. Now, is that what I want? Hell no. But
that question will come with the animation. Will be that question you just asked right now is like, as great as it could be in animation, you would be like, damn, we should have got this live action. So that
would be exactly.
They would make this animation with that in mind already.
Well, see, it's funny you say that because even as still brought up about Scott Snyder saying about the comics, I feel like I wonder if the reason they were pushing that as an idea is depending how well the comics went would determine whether or not they actually release these movies. You know what I mean? Maybe that was the idea. Is like, maybe if we can convince the fandom to like, all right, we're going to release, not even the fandom. That's all on them. I don't even think we honestly. I'm at a point where I don't even think we're a factor in their
Not anymore.
Not anymore. We're a factor, to be honest. Because if we were, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So that aside, I think the idea could have possibly been, hey, if the comics do well, then that gives us more reason to release these movies. But like you said, maybe the end. What I will say for sure is, and maybe this is why they didn't do the animated version, is it is for certain that if the animated came out and we all watched it and we saw how good it was animated, it wouldn't stop us. It actually fueled the fire of, we want this in live action. Y'all got to stop playing, and we, what I'm saying, it would just act, and that's probably why they didn't even go forward with that. I think they realized, like, we gave them the Snyder cut, and it just emboldened them even more to want the rest of the story. Yeah. If we give them this animated version of his story, it's just going to embolden them more to like actually push for the live action. So they are in a they are
to be real. That could also be a reason why we haven't gotten the comic yet, and especially because you would think we talked about it before we even caught on stream, the DC Absolute run right now, like. The comics is like, if they were to drop that, it'll just elevate DC Comics even more right now. So, like, if you think about that, like, that's something, And
it's a real angle, too. You talk about as far as the live action of the actors getting older and the recast question, right? Because I think those are all fair things. I mean, I would say, I don't know if you've seen Ben Affleck lately. I think he could still do this another 20 years. He's
looking pretty healthy.
You know what I mean? But it's like with obviously Cavill still, I think he's still looks good. So it's like now Gal, she keeps popping out these babies. Like we need to slow Gal Gadot down. But
I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
If people remember those leaked storyboards, right? That story is that. Part 2 is the nightmare sequence, and I'll just say it like this: like, who do we absolutely need if we're just trying to finish the story and maybe it won't be as fleshed out as we wanted it to be? Part 2, Wonder Woman and Aquaman, not really much in it.
True.
You know what I'm saying? You need Ben, you need Cavill. You can't recast them at all, in my opinion. Like, it just won't work. Yeah. Everyone else, I think it's some wiggle room. I'm just gonna be honest with that. Like, I know if they call Ezra will do it for Zach. And plus, on top of that, Ezra he's been cleared of all charges, so he can still work, and he's not canceled or nothing. You can get around doing it.
He wants to redo on that.
Yeah, and you can get around it actually not even using Momoa. I'm just gonna be. I'm just saying that just hypothetically, Ben and Henry has to be there. And I really think you could work with everything else. I mean,
for sure. And again, I only ask these things because I'm pushing the needle on the conversation. I'm just trying to, cover all angles. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I guess the reason I asked this question is because my thing is I want us to be prepared for anything. I feel like that's what's important about these conversations. It's not about what we expect, what we want. It's just, can we prepare ourselves honestly about what could happen and what that scenario looks like for us? How would we feel about it? How would we engage with it? Whatever. And again, so when it comes to this animation thing, it's like, that's not what I want. Of course not. You know what I'm saying? Definitely not. I want the live action. But if that were to come out, that's what I'm seeing way before I even bother seeing Superman Legacy on Netflix, because I probably wouldn't even give it to Max either, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, when they finally give it, somebody else to show, that's probably when I'd actually watch it. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny because I know
No, for sure. And then as far as the live the live action, but let's just say it's at a point where it's like recast. Well, I guess the question. So here's the question at hand, just to make it like, just so I can push you guys against the corner. Because it's obviously
leave it up to a Celtics fan, man.
Hey, you finally see the ball back there, you're saying?
Same.
But let me push y'all against the corner. There's no other alternative here. There's no other way to play it out. You know what I'm saying? let's just say it's either we get to get Zach's story, complete, but recast it or not. Are we actually not going to want him to finish the story just because he can't use the same actors? That's the question I guess I'm asking. You know what I mean?
I said my demand. I may seem like a cultist saying this. My demands are clear. Like Ben and Henry has to be in it, or I'm fine not having anything if we don't have Ben and Henry.
There you go. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. How about you, Carlos? What you thinking?
I mean, oh man. All right. Well, I'm gonna be real with you. To what Sil's saying, yes, 100%. I would love to see just Cavill don that suit again and being in this story. But for me, getting the maestro, as they call them, back in the building, I would love to have Zach. And to be real, I mean, if it's to a point to where he's telling the story with different actors, obviously the what if factor, that question, like I said about the animation, will be there. But I'm not boycotting it. But in that same notion, again, me being devil's advocate, it's more of like do we really need this? Because this ain't the same story anymore. But I would be very excited to see it because it's a Zack Snyder story being told in that point.
It would have to be something different at that point. You know what I mean? Like it would have to just be like, hey, this is another idea I had. I'm saying if we're recasting. And obviously, anything Zack Snyder puts out, I'm gonna watch first. Especially if it's DC.
You know what I'm saying?
But I'm saying if he has to recast Ben or Henry in any capacity, I say just do a totally different story. Just use new actors, and it's gonna be epic. Because overall.
For sure.
At that point, you're better off doing the Dark Knight Returns movie or like a Kingdom Come Superman. Use a different actor, do something like that. I mean, mind you, I would still want Cavill to be Kingdom Come Superman, but if he were to go that route,
perfect too. My goodness.
Especially with the gray he got coming in right now. You haven't seen the gray hairs?
It's Henry Cavill. Out of anybody that would come back from the cast, I feel it's Henry Cavill because he loves playing Superman. That's all he's ever wanted. Since he's played Superman.
Yeah. He's one of us, bro. Honestly, he's one of us.
Yeah.
He's one of us.
If I'm gonna be honest, I worry about Ben. I just it's hard to determine where's his headspace mentally. If we're gonna be honest, let's just be honest. Like, sometimes Ben says, post something and it's like, okay, that's cool, but then sometimes it's like, oh man, okay, I think he's just done. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna be real with you though, because you're not the first person to say that.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're not the first person to say that. But one thing we could count on Ben, he loves going back to his exes and crazy relationships. So we can count on him being back with Zach. And
the doors never close with Ben.
Exactly.
That's what I'm like. That's what I'm hoping on. It's like it would be that he'll come back to Zach for sure.
Yeah. Oh no, I think if Zach, I mean that's why Ben came back for those that additional photography for the Snyder cut. It's because Zach called him. I had a pretty good source with that at that time.
Right.
That's when I was saying Ben was going to be an Aquaman and stuff like that. We knew Ben's movement was pretty good a couple years ago, and he was all in for Zach. And so, like I said, if Zach calls him, but one caveat now with Ben, because it's more of a business thing now. Yeah. Any project he's going to be in now, Artist Equity, his production company with Matt Damon, they have to have a piece of pretty much anything. But again, I think he would do a favor for Zach, but like Warner Brothers, you know what I mean? It's like,
he's got his.
Ben would be like, no, y'all gotta give me a cut. Warner Brothers, you gotta give him a cut.
Yeah,
or I'm not gonna do it.
And for sure, that's true. Now to answer the question on my end, if there has to be recast, I'd still watch it. Because I'm more intrigued in seeing where the story goes. That's not to say that I don't care about the recasting or like the actors are the same. That's my what I'd prefer. That's my preference. But let's just say for some reason he can't get them all back. But it's like we can use other actors, whatever, to play those roles. I'd still be down to watch that. Now I think it'd be somewhat of the situation of like again with the animated where it's like there's a slight disappointment there. Not as big of a disappointment because again I'm still gonna be able to see Zack Snyder do his thing on film the way he does it and let him cook and he's going to do his thing. And I know that whether it's the same actors or not, it's going to be a good film.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, there would be like a slight disappointment in me. Like, man, I would have preferred seeing Henry Cavill as Superman still and Ben Affleck as Batman and all these guys. But if for whatever reason, everybody has to be like a different actor or whatever, go ahead. I just want to see the story, complete.
This uncomfortable thoughts you put out there, Bang.
Because look. What I said before, I may contradict myself right now because watch this. I just look behind me and I'm like, damn, can I really see somebody else in this exact suit? And I'm like, it can't. It's a whole different story at that point.
As a fandom, we do gotta prepare ourselves. And again, I know everyone probably at that same level of just understanding. There's a business side to this. There's a reality to it as well. And I think at the end of the day, I thought one thing that at least I used to think what united all of us was that, hey, if Zach does it, we down. Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I don't think everyone's on the same page with that. I'm just saying overall as a fandom, there's still like these, I can't compromise it. But like, if Zach signs off on it, I'm gonna rock with whatever Zach does. But I'll just throw this out there: we as a fandom, I don't know if we're ready for this conversation, but just that, what if it's just Dark Knight Returns and that's all that does DC? Yes, and it's that story, and that could be a total recast. Maybe Ben won't be able to get the business side of that, and he has to, just do a new Batman or whatever. Yeah. If that's it, that's uncomfortable for people to consider. I will be fine with. I believe Zach's going to do at least that.
Yeah.
Now, quick question though, because I wonder when we say Dark Knight Returns, which Dark Knight Returns?
Straight comic book, Frank Miller, Dark Knight. I believe
Frank Miller with Green Arrow, and
okay. That's what I was wondering. Part 1 or part 2. And the reason I'm asking this, and I think you know where I'm already going to go with this, and it's that, and we might say to ourselves, yeah, I'd still go watch that, and maybe we would. But is that something we see everybody going to go watch, seeing that we kind of got that already in BVS? You know what I mean? Like, it almost would seem like I don't know.
That's actually interesting.
If I could be honest, I don't need it. I don't need it. Would I watch it? Of course, because it's like I know it's going to be crazy, just an amazing movie to watch. But do I need it or want it? I'm not sure, because I personally, for me, when I was in the theater and I'm watching BVS, the reason I got goosebumps was because I'm seeing Batman in the armored suit, and I felt like I'm watching The Dark Knight Returns live action.
Yeah.
Like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had a, like chilling, goosebump moment. You know what I mean? Like, that's
with
how
the bat signal and
the spear in his hand. Yeah.
Bro, that was crazy. For me. That was it. That was the highlight of the movie for me. Like, I just seeing that on screen, I'm like, holy, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I, again, I saw that movie like 4 or 5 times in the theater. How just
exciting. Hey, the theater cut don't get enough love, man. The theater cut was I love that shit, man.
You know what I'm saying? So
it was still Zach.
Yeah, exactly. So I say that because I'm like, so then to like, come and do Dark Knight Returns, it's just like as if BVS wasn't good enough. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
This what I'll push back on this with sure. Obviously, I mean, all of us being comic fans, we know of these iconic stories. So Dark Knight Returns, again, that armored suit, older Batman, things like that. And it's like those are elements of it, though,
right?
So if Zach really does the story, you have Carrie Kelly in this, then you have again, Green Arrow is a big part in that battle, and then you have the motivations of Superman is different. So I mean, it is a different story. The elements, I mean, he even had Ben do the pose, right? The cover pose. It's like he did put a lot in BVS,
exactly.
But the story itself, so then the only question would be, okay, the business side of this. You got this new DC Studios going. Mm-hmm. You got Reeves Batman. Like, where's the market for a Dark Knight Returns? That is a fair question. Or is this a streaming film? So questions like that I get, but I would say just to as far as what you're saying, it still will be a different story. I feel, overall.
I think for me, what's very key for that. I mean, for one, Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, you're right. We will be probably first in line, but it's all about the release of it, and still kind of touch on it with the whole Elseworld thing. Once we start getting a lot of these other Elseworld things more down the line, I feel like if it's placed in the right position, at the end of the day, especially Batman sells, and then you get Zack back with Batman. I mean, it could be Adam West Batman. People gonna line up and go crazy and go watch it just because it's Zack, and to Sill's point, it's a totally different story, and I feel like that would intrigue. And if the casting is right, maybe this is just me being fans of these different actors. If you get like a Brolin, an older, grittier type of guy, or John Hamm to be that type of old school Batman, older Batman, I think people will line up. And to your point, Vega, to what you said earlier, not many people, me, I'm open to what Gunn is bringing out. I obviously, if it's trash, like says all the time, we gonna trash it.
We're gonna roast, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna have a roast party. But if I'm still open to seeing it. One, because I'm a DC fan first.
For sure.
So this is in that element of like, this is DC, and this is something where this exact story we have not seen for so long. Especially if they let's say they're doing like a 20th or 30th anniversary of the Frank Miller thing, right? Or the Frank Miller comic of Dark Knight Returns, and they drop a movie like this or announce a movie like this. That people just in general, older and new, are gonna be like, "Yo, I'm ready for this." Then you add Zack's name to that. Oh man, people are gonna go crazy.
Oh, for sure. And here's the thing: like again, I'm still gonna watch Superman Legacy because I'm just not excited to see it in the theater.
Right?
I'm not pumped about it. The movie doesn't really pull to me like that. Does that mean I'm not gonna watch? No, because I am like you. I'm a DC fan, so I definitely am interested to see what DC's doing. But like I said in the comment section on your live stream, so I'm just not hyped for it. Nothing that they're talking about or shown me up to this point isn't intriguing enough. It looks downgraded. It even down to the animation movies that they've released. The style of art is downgraded from like what we had with the Jay Oliva Apocalypse War, whole movie, series. Epic. You know what I mean?
Young Justice, all that good stuff, bro.
You know what I mean? So it's like when I look at those movies and then I come here and I'm now trying to watch the new rollout of things, and the animation just is it's not as good. You know what I mean? It's just not as good. And story-wise, again, it's like I like the stories. I do like the stories. I'm not the appeal of the animation. I'm not appealed by the animation, So even when it comes to those animation movies, it's like I'll watch it when I watch it. I'll get to it eventually. So I did watch the Crisis ones, right? And that was a pretty decent story. There was a lot going on. I was like
a lot.
There was a lot going on. At some point, it's where am I? What's going on? Like, I'm saying? It just seemed like a lot.
One was a little disjointed because the Flash kept jumping. I was like, wait a minute, let me.
Like hold on, what's going on?
Whoa.
I gotta say, out of that, my favorite was probably the end. Especially, we got Kevin Conroy, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, the third one was great.
Yeah. So but that's it's things like that. And like I said, the only thing right now DC related that I'm tapped into because I'm actually excited. I like what I'm seeing. It's just their video games and their comics. Other than that, I feel like they've lost me on their movies. They've lost me on their TV series. With the exception of maybe the Penguin. And even that, if I'm gonna be honest, it took me a while to watch that because I just wasn't sure if I wanted to actually tap into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it really worth my time? But everybody was like, "Hey, go watch it."
That was quality.
Like, so then for sure, that was by far the best thing that they've released out of everything, which is crazy to say. Like, I shouldn't be saying that. I shouldn't be saying that the best thing that they've released so far is a TV series or streaming series on Max compared to movies that they've released. Like that shouldn't be what I'm saying, but it is what I'm saying so far.
DC's like a prisoner to itself because, like, our generation, like we saw the beginning and end of the Nolan run, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we all could kind of just remember that run, and then it only, as far as like epic skill, like I remember opening weekend for Batman Begins. This is after I was still a little old enough to remember Batman and Robin, and it didn't traumatize me probably as much as older generations. But when Batman Begins came out, and you just had certain moments in that film where you're like, "That's Batman." Like Nolan gets like, "This is Batman," and it kind of set a standard. Like, hey, DC is serious. Like that was a big part. That was Nolan set that standard, and then they said, "Oh, you saved Batman." Warner Bros. Is like, "Can you do Superman?" He's like, "I have a guy." He brought in Zack Snyder, right? And it was just another level of epicness. Man of Steel, like I can't say enough. Opening day, Man of Steel, that Krypton sequence was the greatest thing I probably ever seen in theaters, man. Like, seriously, like that was so. It's like a prisoner to itself, and then you have the BVS announcement at Comic-Con. You can't match that. There's no way you can match that announcement for anything. Like I was just at San Diego Comic-Con, last summer, right? For RDJ announced that he came back. That was huge, but I'm pretty sure the BVS announcement was even bigger than that, right? So it's like DC's like a it's a prisoner to itself. So it's like, okay, you're not going to continue the Snyderverse. So then what's going to happen now when you're trying a different angle? That seems to be the question, right? That seems to be the question.
Yeah, man. Like, and then that rollout that you speak of the whole like announcement for the BVS too is like in Man of Steel. It was such a perfect setup, and it was just a satellite. So like that is just even crazier. Like that when that announcement dropped, you were just like, I remember like the world shook when that thing came out, bro. It was crazy. That was the times. But it's crazy. You bring up Batman Begins. At that point, all we really had going, I just looked it up right now, was really Smallville, and then Smallville was even promoting Batman Begins, and then that's when they try to they did the whole Superman Returns after that. After Batman Begins in 2006. So you kind of had that intertwined, but like that was like probably like peak DC timing right there. Because that was like, before the whole Arrowverse and all that stuff. Like that was like, we didn't even think about this. This what we're fighting for wasn't even a possibility at that time.
Right.
So,
but it set that standard. That's the point. It's like we can see how epic. Now again, we haven't seen Gunn's film yet.
Right.
All intents and purposes. And I've been saying this for a year now that Guardians 3 is like a good gauge. I know people think it'll be all joke fest. It's James Gunn, and I get people that trepidations with that. But if you've seen Guardians 3, Gunn can do some serious stuff as well too. But when we're talking about the state, Nolan, Snyder, Terrio on the script. Goyer did the Man of Steel script, I believe.
Yeah.
So. We're talking about like it's like Gunn, you're stepping into an arena, and that's the main thing where I can understand people comparing. Like, come on, the scale of DC, we've seen the peak, and so you're gonna give us a different story. Like I said, that's gonna be fair criticism, overall.
No, yeah. Go ahead.
Vic, I was gonna ask, like, and that's kind of like switch it up, but like, what did you think of, or what do you think? Or expecting out of the new Green Lanterns show that's coming out?
Ooh, I like the casting of it for sure. I'll give him that. I guess I just got to see more before I got you. You know what I mean? Of course, again, anything DC, I'm excited to watch for sure. But the only issue with me is like there's just not enough for me to see or know if I'm really excited about it. And it's one of those things where it's like until and again, it has nothing to do with whether or not I get more the rest of Zack Snyder's stuff, because it's like for me, like DC is beyond Zack Snyder. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it doesn't have to be about Zack Snyder. But do I feel like, you know, again, anything that they've shown me thus far, I'm excited for. Like completely not so much. Again, the only thing so far that really caught my attention, that was really, I guess you could say, worth the watch for me, was Penguin. You know, which was funny because I was probably one of the only people. No, maybe not the only. I think there was a lot of people that at least as far as our circle, I would say that I think I didn't give the Batman as much flack as everyone else.
Oh.
And the only thing, and not because it didn't have issues with it, because it definitely did. Yeah. You know, I'm definitely not a fan of what they decided to do with Batman as a whole in that movie. That didn't really impress me. Or it didn't, you know. I guess let's just say if we're going to be fair and say something like, you know, every universe, different timelines, different realities. You know, Batman's different in every single one. So this is just a version of Batman, whatever. If that's the truth, then this is my least interesting version of Batman, and it's at the bottom of the totem pole as far as that's concerned.
Jeez.
But everything outside of that, you know, it was actually a really good film. You know what I'm saying? Like, I liked the tone. I liked the you know, from the sound, the music, the lighting, the villain, the side characters. All that was good to me. The only thing that I really had a problem with was just with Bruce. If anything,
the protagonist.
I had a problem with the protagonist, which is crazy. You said I shouldn't have a problem with it's about him.
You had a problem with the guy who's the title of the film, Batman.
I mean, I just made up with Reeves fans. Okay, so I'm on a slippery slope right now. I just made up because I have I guess a classic video now where I came out of the screenings of the Batman and. I just destroyed the film because I just was not happy. But when time went by, it's because it was, like you said, it was Pattinson. Yeah. Because the Prime Saga, I like actually what Reeves is doing. It was after I saw Penguin, I was like,
let me go.
Okay, you know, maybe I'll treat it, this too harshly, right? Batman, and I came out with it like this is a good story. The aesthetic is good and everything. It's just I just don't like it's a bad Batman.
Yeah,
it's a good film though. It's a
good film, bad Batman, which is crazy to say. Like, how does that even make sense?
Still, how would you have felt if they would have released, like, I guess it would have to be a prequel of a Penguin show, and then went out and came out with the Batman afterwards, like setting it up like that. How would you have felt that?
Or just like you said, like a prequel, just some kind of story. I mean, I just wish Pattinson would have did better. that's what it is. That's what it is. But and if he wanted to set up his world before that, then I would have took it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it's even Pattinson, to be honest with you, unless the route they went with Batman was his idea. Let's just say that. If that's the case, then yeah, it's Pattinson. But that aside, like, I have no issue with Pattinson. I just have an issue with the direction they went with Batman. Just, like, I don't know if that was him. Like, it's not about his acting skills per se. I just don't like the route they went with him. This emo version of Bruce Wayne.
That's the character, right? That's writing. That is directing.
That's the writing. So whoever did that, I'm just like, what the hell were you thinking? and then even when it comes to, I'm having like lighting issues over here, but even when it comes to Batman, my issue there is, it kind of just it definitely cemented that this is a different Batman in the sense of, like, he's not a ninja, he's not stealthy, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, what? He knows no martial arts.
Rooms.
You know what I'm saying? He's just right. You know what I mean? Like, what?
A big thing too that I feel like affected this film was that it was kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it was advertised to us that this is a year 2 Batman. he played this like a year one Batman.
Exactly.
And I was just like, this is not what I expected.
Not even a year one Batman. That's what bothered me. Is that it's not even this is just a different Batman. He had no martial arts skills. He's not a ninja. He was not trained by the League of Shadows. He's walking into the front doors. He's walking in
loud
like
ass steps.
Hey, he's walking in there like he's RoboCop, bro. He's walking in there like he's RoboCop.
Hey, can I come in and investigate? Gordon's like, oh, hey, he's with me. Bring you. Let Batman in. What am I seeing, bro?
You know what I'm saying? So that wasn't even a year one Batman. That was just a different version of Batman, and the one Batman that'll probably get his ass kicked by all the other Batmans because he has no skills whatsoever. You know what I'm saying?
Man, them Riddlers was giving it to him. You know,
like what Batman can't speak Spanish? That's probably like the first language he learned, man. Like
yeah, he wasn't a good detective. That's
for all the talk that it was supposed to be that.
That's what
I'm saying. Advertisement.
Like, this is gonna be
You know what I mean?
Didn't come across.
That was like it was rough.
That one scene of Ben Affleck like doing the detective work of catching up all these Justice League people like was more than the whole Batman trying to figure out who La Rata was the whole time. Like, what?
That was a cringy scene. That really was. I don't know what Reeves like. Oh, perfect. Like, I don't know how.
Yeah, like, I don't know what he
thought that was a good representation of your Batman.
This is going.
Even Gordon was like, bro, like Gordon was like, you know, are you Batman? Like Gordon was even like questioning him in the movie, like, bro, do you know what you're doing?
I trusted you, man. I trusted you.
It was just a weird vibe with that, man.
It was off. It was off. And again, that's my issue with the film. Other than that, I thought everything was spot on. Oh snap! Hold on, all right, what's up, nephew? I see you. Okay, you're a Joker fan. That's good to know. That's good to know. It's good. I'm all in. Do you get fee? I do, brother. What's okay? Pimple and Gamer, thank you for hopping on. I don't. You know what? Honestly, I don't. I'm not seeing them. So if you are, I don't see them. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen your comments on the Facebook side of things, which is weird. But let's see. You said Robert Pattinson Batman wasn't too bad. He's the little bicho ass Batman. I don't know, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, like we said, I just feel like the man's has no martial arts skills.
He was just having tantrums on people.
He was just having tantrums. Like, yeah, right. Like, and he's getting the best out of street level thugs. I'm not impressed by that. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't make you the Batman for me. You feel me? Like, what makes you the Batman for me is once I see you go toe to toe with somebody like Bane, or not even that. I'm just saying, like, you gotta have that type of level of fighting skills. You gotta be able to go up against Ra's al Ghul, bro. You're beating up street thugs, and I'm supposed to be like say, oh yeah,
he put like a camera. He blackmailed Catwoman and put a camera on. I was like, what kind of film is this, guys? Like, what are we doing?
That was the most detective he did, following Catwoman.
And I don't blame him for that. I don't blame him for that. I would have too. You know what I'm saying? I would have too. But
but again, that's that standard. That's what I'm saying. Even with Batman, Nolan, showed you.
Yes.
League of Assassins or League of Shadows, whatever people want to call him. And it's like that was quintessential.
Just very
Batman. And then Ben was just like, the bulky, but it just Pattinson was neither, he was neither of that.
It's like they were trying to put him in the medium of the two, but he didn't match. He didn't find that wavelength of the two. He said he's Robert Pattinson ain't about that life. Yeah, I'm telling you, he really wasn't. He really wasn't.
He ain't about that life.
Nah. Does the Superman trailer look like butt cheeks? It's a fact. It's a fact. I mean, for me, guys, I don't know about y'all, but personally, for me, I wasn't impressed.
The Superman, because I've been doing a lot of coverage with that. That's one of my platforms. I got the Superman channel, which has actually been doing pretty good since last summer. I mean, there's conversation over it because it was a narrative last year was like, nobody's worried about that movie. Nobody. It's like not. There's enough DC fans that's gonna be like, let's see, and we'll judge accordingly. But I will say, coming off again, it's down the epic scale. But then I do like the stuff like the kaijus and stuff in there. It is going to feel like a comic book, but all we can do is compare. You know what I mean? What's come before in DC, and that's going to be the challenge.
Yeah, that is the challenge. And you're right. There's this, and I don't like when they do that because it's like there's a dishonesty there. Like, oh, there's no hype for it, like, or nobody's like, no, there's certain people that are actually excited to see this. And I say that unfortunately because it's not really to me personally, it doesn't look like that great of a film. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like the kaiju thing is like, we saw what happened with the Suicide Squad. That was enough kaiju for me. You know what I'm saying? Leave that in there.
Starro,
right? Which was just
okay.
You know, again,
I didn't think about that. Okay.
Here's my issue with that. My issue with what I've seen so far in the Superman trailer is it goes to what I said on your live stream in the comments, where I don't get this idea where they think we gotta bring back the golden age era of comics and put them in the live screen, and that's what the fans want. They want the golden age era or the silver era of these comics when we haven't gotten anything like that in a decade. You get what I'm saying? Like we're past that style of comics, of costumes, and the fact that there's this idea that if we bring it back, it's gonna do great. I mean, the Green Lantern in that film looks goofy as hell, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, though,
my man's got the bowl cut. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he's supposed to though, but you know that's his character. I feel you though. I do feel you though.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you
do the streets want it?
Yeah, exactly. That's the question. That's
not what the streets wanted. Is my whole point. Here's the crazy part. When we already saw who Zack Snyder was about to cast as Green Lantern, and now when we're already seeing the Jon Stewart that they're going with in this, the new Green Lantern, that's the Green Lantern people are interested in, not this. Yeah. What the hell are you thinking? And then even Hawkgirl, like, let's just be honest, like, what? Like that's Hawkgirl.
You raise a good point. Like again, this whole Silver Age or retrofuturism. You know, is that really the right call? Especially after again the epicness after Nolan, after Snyder. And so I said this is a gamble that Gunn is on the big screen. I can understand if it's just like streaming. Oh, let's do like a Silver Age 100%. Thing.
And I guess
this is a gamble.
This is a gamble, and the reason why I'm clowning it is because okay, I brought up that whole idea of my what I'm in conflict with there with the Fantastic Four, right? Even though I like the tone of the film, the trailer that I saw, whatever, it looks, oh man, it actually looks like it's gonna be a fun film, whatever, it's pretty cool, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'll be honest, when it came to this side, I'm like, oh, why do they have this idea that if we, but I'm like, whatever. But I can see why it made sense there. I can see maybe to themselves they're thinking, well, the Fantastic Four before that didn't do too well. And that was a more modern take of that team, and it didn't do well. So maybe if we, so I can see why they thought that. I still don't agree with it, but I can see why they thought that. When it comes to this film, nothing about Man of Steel, BVS, Dark Knight Return, or the Dark Knight trilogy, hell, like whether you like Black Adam or not, none of those, nothing about these films should have told you, oh, people are tired of seeing more modern takes of these heroes. No, people love seeing the modern take of these heroes. Because that's what speaks to the audience now. I mean, Hawkman and Black Adam looked crazy. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm looking at this weak ass version of Hawkgirl in your film. It's just crazy to me. And it's not to say that I didn't have my issues with the Black Adam and the version they went with Hawkman. Like I think they could have done him more justice, but at least aesthetically, he looked on point. You know what I'm saying? Like that should just look raw when that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like. And the wings come out, You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
See,
so again, I don't know what you thought in your mind that said we got to take it back to the. We got to take it back. We got to take it way, way back. Throwback Thursday with this Superman legacy shit.
Man, this is a soft spot with this Black Adam conversation. This is why I still have beef with certain people in the fandom because they didn't support Black Adam.
Hey, cheers to that, Phil. Cheers to that.
The Rock knew, like, hey, at least I need this aesthetic. Like, I gotta give him the same aesthetic. And yeah, was it gonna be the Rock's world after that? Yeah, he was gonna do, he's gonna probably beat up Superman and do all the stuff that he wants to do. But he at least had the look down. And so that's what I said, that's that gamble with gun though, man. It just either it's gonna hit or not, and they're prepared to just kind of build a new fan base. And just we'll have to see how it goes. I don't know if you want to gamble with that,
Yeah, and I kind of also, I mean, you've touched on it, so much so these last couple of days is the marketing hasn't, and to a person like Vega, he's trying to give it a chance, and it's just like nothing has grabbed him, to go and be excited for this, and I think that's a big key too, like the marketing for the film is just like, I mean, hopefully, I think what is it? April, they got the CinemaCon and stuff like that. Maybe we get to see a little bit more about the story. I actually see Superman say a line in the trailer, like something. Yeah, I think that will help it. But I mean, it's at a tough spot right now with everything we had so much hope for, back then, and it's just so different now.
Right.
So
and I think the biggest thing is, like, so said already a couple times, is that unfortunately this film is being measured to those that came before it, because we've had very recent Superman films, Superman appearances, and this is what it's being judged by, and it doesn't meet the mark. It just doesn't so far. So that's what's, and that was my issue even with Suicide Squad. His version of the Suicide Squad is that, dude, you're touching stuff that's already been done and that people already have an affinity to. That's my problem with what he's doing here. And it's like, again, it's like a complete disregard to the fandom, because I think everybody, whether they were Zack Snyder fans or not, was like, Henry Cavill is Superman. So that's the part that got with me. Like, what do you, and I get this idea that you got to do something new to prove yourself being worthy of being seated at the helm. I'll be honest, I never agreed with that idea. I don't think he should be the head of DC Studios or co-head of DC Studios, but whatever, they gave it to him, and it is what it is. But again, your film is going to be judged according to those that came before it, and
especially when we saw Cavill so recent in Black Adam, and that's one thing that, like, especially when we bring up this Black Adam film. Like, it just really frustrates me, man. I mean, I saw that movie 6 times in the theaters, and there's people out here like that didn't go see Black Adam and all this, and now they're like preaching about it and preaching about how much they wanted Cavill, and Cavill was in that film. Minor, it was a little scene at the end, but it's like man, like that's something that would like forever break my heart, because I feel like that movie should have done so much better. It should have done so much better.
Look, I went and saw that movie.
No comment.
I went and saw that movie twice.
I'm still upset about that,
man. I missed out on what you said about it, but what I will say is this: is Black Adam aesthetically looked good, but if I'm going to be honest, I wasn't completely on board with the route they went with Black Adam as far as like his character. I felt they were trying to make him too nice, or he was too close to being nice that even the rawness and the badness, like, of who he really is, like, his giving into his like more evil nature, didn't really resonate, and then they were trying to play with tropes that they think work because it's worked another. And this is my issue when it comes to Hollywood. It's like, just because something works in another film doesn't mean it's going to work with yours. I hate that concept of, oh, this is a the algorithm that works for, you know, like if we use this same, you know, concept, it should be a successful film. Like, throw that shit out the window and just make a story from scratch that actually is good, that you know is compelling, that's going to really resonate with the audience. Fuck the movie by committee. Oh, this is what's working here, so we're gonna do this here as well. Throw that out the window. And again, that's my issue with Superman Legacy. It's something that other people are already doing. It's nothing. There's nothing fresh about. Let's just be honest. There's nothing fresh about his concept of his film. There's nothing fresh about it. Fantastic Four is doing it. Every film right now, I don't know if you guys can tell, is doing this whole retro thing. Whether it's the music that's playing is like the soundtrack, or it's all retro sounds, like, you know what I'm saying, like, or whether it's even the aesthetics, you know, old cars, whether it's a timepiece, everybody's doing that. So it's like that's the issue, bro. You're there's nothing fresh about what you're doing here with Superman Legacy, and you're trying to make it seem like you are. You want people to believe that you're doing something new and different when you're not.
Right. With Fantastic Four, to the point of that's more of that's part of the story. That's kind of built into the story, that retro vibe of Fantastic Four, because that's gonna make sense by the end of that film. But yeah, with Superman, this is more of just like the fresh take, again, the retro futurism, like kind of like the Rocketeer film, that old film. Yeah, you know that. But again, it's like, do we need that? And again, that's a fair question. It is going to be like I always keep hearing, it's like a DC showcase. So it just, you know, either it lands or it don't. But again, you know, we still got to see it first as well on that. But it just, the whole take, back to your Black Adam point. The character decisions, I get why people didn't like certain aspects of the story. I mean, because The Rock again was trying to make himself anti-Superman, you know, that's what he was trying to do. And I do say, creatively, the character of Black Adam, he should have showed up in Shazam and like beat him up first or something.
Yes,
you know
I agree
kill
with that.
one of his family members or something. He should have did something like sinister.
Yes,
and then have him probably go through like a just, you know, anti type of thing, or just show more of like, okay, he's bigger than just some bad guy. So I get that. I get the character choice. I just looked at it that the Rock brought back Henry Cavill, and like we owed that to the Rock to support that film, because he was fighting for Man of Steel 2, and so it's like that's the part that I
still when he changed the trailer for the Zack Snyder, like that alone should have been like, before the movie even came out, before we knew about
the justice part.
Yeah,
and it was an outcry online. He pulled the Rock pulled the trailer,
says sorry to
justice
us.
Scene, and put it back out. It's like, we've never seen that done before. Someone that had their ear that close to the fandom. Now, some people will say, he should have came out in public and say, "Hey, Snyder fans." But you got to understand the politics of this, the business of this. Yeah, he's not just going to give all the W to Zach. This it's $7 Productions, right? Zach,
but to your point there, like him apologizing on that tweet when he retweeted the new stuff, when he redid it, I felt like that was enough of him acknowledging and like doing that. Like, he didn't have to say, "Oh, hey, I'm doing this because it's," you know, like he already, with him saying "I'm sorry," like that was enough. And then just those characters alone, like for me, my favorite part of Black Adam was Dr. Fate. Like, dude, James Bond being, you know, Fate, man, come on. They were supposed to have series on that, man.
Again, aesthetically, I was really blown away by the film. I thought Dr. Fate looked raw as hell. I thought Black Adam looked raw as hell. You know, Hawkman, what's his name?
Adam Smasher. Cyclone looked great.
Everything was good about like those characters. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now I have my nitpicks about it, but that's just like the family. You know, like I'm like, Nth Metal should be able to break through magic, so he should have been able to break the wall. That I thought was kind of goofy. I don't like the fact that they kind of like nerfed Dr. Fate so that he could not easily be able to take on the villain of that film. that should have actually not, been the
Yeah,
thing.
that shouldn't have been a fight.
And if they see, and that's what I'm saying. Like there was, that shouldn't have been a fight. Exactly. That was.
I think
It
that
should
was
have been
more
like
story wise. That should.
They could have done so many things with him that it was just kind of goofy that they went that route. They could have easily been like, he just disappears, because there's another threat, and people won't even question that because Dr. Fate is known for doing that.
Yeah,
He's omnipresent.
He's omnipresent, so he'll have to leave sometimes just because like something, the helmet's telling him, hey, wait, there's chaos over here, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you could have played that. Could have been the end credit scene of like. You could have done the double end credit scene, the one with the Cavill, and then the one towards the very end where it's like what Dr.
Justice League Dark type of thing.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the alternate timeline, the nightmare scene. He could have done anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's but anyway, regardless. So I definitely agree with the notion that
Vega, I just sold that wound. Now I gotta redo it, man.
I gotta agree with you guys though. There was, at least you could tell that The Rock was trying to play ball. Like, like he you can tell he had his ear to the streets. He was definitely trying to do his best to appease the fans and again, yeah, him bringing Henry Cavill back for sure. That is the sign. That was the olive branch, whatever you want to call it. That was the sign. If you were looking for a sign, that's it.
With the curl too.
Yeah, exactly. That was you needed any sign. That was it. He brought the main character of the main arc that you're interested in. Like that's it. Like
he's like, this is the Superman.
Yeah, right. You get what I'm saying? Like, that should have been it. Like this is this character that Zack Snyder wrote everything on. You know what I'm saying? And he brought him back. That should have been enough for everybody to be like, okay.
And with the stories and stuff like that of Black Adam, I get people had their gripes with it and stuff, but just seeing how all the characters in that film were portrayed, you can see them in a Zack Snyder movie. Like they fit in that world.
Yeah.
So it's like, that also was like another thing. Was like, man, like I can see this,
Yeah.
So
Sure. But when I saw that film and I started thinking about, man, what direction it could go, and in my mind, I don't know about you guys, but I always thought that the end result was going to be when Darkseid comes, it was going to have to be like another Justice League animated,
the Unlimited,
where the villains and the heroes had to come together to face Darkseid and his army. Like that's how grave, everybody, it's Darkseid. You know what I'm saying? And I could see like Black Adam having to show up and that version of the Justice Society teaming up with the Justice League, you know what I'm saying? Even the Suicide Squad, even Luther, you know what I'm saying? Like all these guys having to come together to figure out how we're going to stop Darkseid.
And having Luther, like in the animated series, have him be the one who saves everybody with the anti-life equation. He finally figured it out.
Which kind of would have been full circle, considering that it was him who opened the gates. You know what I'm saying? He opened the gates. You know what I'm saying? He's the one who's seen what was coming. And so that's why I always thought it was going to go in that direction, because I'm like, it was very, to me, reminiscent of Luther in his, in the animated series, trying to find, the Amazos, or not Amazo, but was it Amazo? No, not Amazo.
Amazos.
Was it Amazo? Or was it no, he was connected with what's the other
who are we talking about right now?
Luther.
Oh, Brainiac,
there you go. He was connected with Brainiac.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Zach would have did that.
Yeah, and not that it had to be that. I'm just saying that it was that vibe of Luther's, power hungry for, always leading to something bad, and so it just felt like that, And you open the gates. Now Darkseid's coming, and you have to do what you have to do. Also now team up with the guys that you hate to save the world that you claim you have a stake in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because Luther always will pick humanity, no matter when it comes down to it. Like even no matter what. So that would have been epic.
Yeah, but
man, I just gotta say, man, because with all this talk, man, it's just like going back in the catalog of my head around that time, like I gotta do, man. Shout out to Mikey, bro. Like Bourbon Talk, bro. All the Bourbon Talk we used to have, on Sill's stream, man.
Shout out, Mike.
So it was a lot of it was a lot of information, because that was a time when You know, Cavill was coming back, Ben was coming back, Ben was on set. You know, then they were going to do. You know, they wrote the Man of Steel 2 script.
Yeah.
So I mean, we like that was like the, you know, we talk about different stages of the fandom. The release of Snyder Cut, you know, just that's the original movement. Then like restore the Snyderverse, like that was the culmination right there where we was that close to everybody coming back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is crazy. Cavill really did come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is what it is on that end. I mean, it definitely is disappointing for sure. And again, it's like now with how things are, that's why I felt it was important for us to have that conversation of like, all right, where do we really see things going, or how do we feel if things go in a certain direction? Like, what are we really talking about here? Because, you know, in the end of the day, we really don't know. You know what I'm saying? We really don't know what's going to happen. We can get excited, obviously, that Zach still has his ear to the streets, and clearly he has, I assume, not even assume, we can kind of bet on it because he mentioned it in that one interview, like you said, that they started sharing, that he for sure still has an interest in this IP and especially his story that he was telling. So anything's possible, and I think there's good reason to believe that that's, you know, Zach knows what he's doing, and despite the evil agenda of the machine going up against us. but you know, I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm excited for that, and I only hope that at a certain point, and maybe because, you know, we kind of touched on it right now, but I don't see why as a fandom there's so much division. You know, like it doesn't make sense. The one thing that brings common ground should be enough for you to like have common ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, we're all Zack Snyder fans. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's losing points or gaining points just because you know. Like, no, I know you're a Zack Snyder. Like I identify you as that already. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's gonna change that for me. You know what I mean? I don't care what you're hashtagging. I don't care whether you're on board with the animated or not. I don't care. I honestly don't, like, none of that matters to me. I don't really care. But I know that you like Zack Snyder's work. You like the story. You wanted to finish the story. You're just as much as excited for Dark Side coming as much as I am. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that we know we can get with the you know, Justice League 2 and 3 or whatever Zack wants to do. I know you're excited for that, and that's all that really matters to me. So, in the end of the day, I'm going to share anybody's support of what Zack is doing, what they, you know what I'm saying? I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, with Snyder fans, I was just talking to the homie Peely. I was talking to Mr. West Ashley about that. Is as far as the original goal, it was getting Zack's movie, you know, release the Snyder Cut. That was a singular cry, right? And so when things change, he said, when just, you know, it could be some people, their idea gets more clout than others, or you know, certain people, like he called Zach crack, you know, he said stuff like that. And he said that's what really changed the movement. If you remember the whole 40 Club thing back in the day, Vega, and that's when things kind of changed, where it wasn't just about the movie anymore. It was about your movement. You know, that's one question like I threw out there not too long ago. I was like, you know, is it about Zach or our campaigns? Because there's several campaigns I've supported. I mean, not just Restore, but got the Schumacher Cut group. Like, shout out to them. You know, the Ayer Cut. Like, you know, Will Rowland saw the Ayer Cut, so it's like we rocking with, you know, movies about just, you know, getting these projects. So when it comes to Zach, it's like it shouldn't be as splintered, but you just see like since release, then Restore. Now it's just kind of like you got the animated crowd. You know, obviously third-party ideas. That's not a bad idea. I think Zach will be for it if Netflix got the Snyderverse. I think he'd be for that, or if Amazon does it. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what I kind of said earlier. I was like, I think the fandom, it kind of transcends hashtag. This is just what I feel. It transcends hashtags where it just, if you like, there's a trending event coming March 18th, right? And you probably like 5 different hashtags people talking about using that day. And but my thing with that is that you're a Snyder fan and you want Zach to do more DC, then I'm rocking with whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If that's really it, and it's not about splintering things. At the end of the day, just in my opinion, so I don't get too caught up in particular campaigns anymore, only because I can see that divide people too much. But if something dope comes across and it's like, yo, restore the Snyderverse or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna retweet that. That looks dope because we want Zach to do more. That's it, y'all.
That's it. Like it's not even. Yeah, there's nothing more to it. So I don't. Again, it's like I'm sharing whatever I see that like you. I'm not on Twitter as much, probably mostly because of that reason. It's just weird getting on Twitter or X, whatever, because it's like it just seems like every day it's this, clashing of
the tug of war.
Clashing of tribes, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? And it's like on everything. I'm talking about like not even just movie stuff. It's like, politics, anything, the music and like everybody's clashing about anything and everything on here. So it's like our next, and it's like, so I just, it's like, it kind of drained me. Like the excitement I used to have to like get on and campaign, because it's like the meaning of all of it got lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, it's not to say that I don't understand certain concepts that have been introduced and why, like, this is what you want to hashtag. Like, of course, that actually makes sense. I can see why you know what I'm saying? But just because there's another one doesn't mean that, they're the enemy. How dare they? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? To get upset and make enemies with people that you should be
too much energy,
because they want the same thing you do. So like, I mean, and again, I can get why there's, look, the whole, but we got to stick to one hashtag because, that's how it gets more, if we just have our focus on that, then more numbers, it's like, but like, let's just stop pretending like it matters, because at the end of the day, what's going to matter most is if the topic is Zack Snyder's DC return. So that's, you know what I'm saying? If that's trending, if it's Zack Snyder is trending,
right? That's
really
my point. Just put the hashtag Zack Snyder. Exactly. Just hashtag Zack Snyder, because that's, you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying,
because that's
what it's about.
It's about. We want to see Zack Snyder do his thing. So if there's any hashtag, let that be the hashtag, I guess. But that's my whole point. If it's Restore the Snyderverse, if it's sell Zack Snyder's Justice League or whatever to the Netflix, whichever one it is. I don't even know if there's any other ones, but those are the ones I mainly see, and I'm always sharing both, because in my mind I'm like, it's achieving this. You all want the same thing. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not here to choose sides. I'm not here to cater.
Yeah, if it's sold to Netflix, like, of course we're gonna watch that, and we're gonna applaud that. Yeah. If it's done under Warner Brothers again, see, my thing is that I don't want to splinter it where, like you said, it's like, if Zach does something, we're against that, because we're at that point with this animation talk where there may be enough people, obviously we're not choosing animation, right? But if they make that, because again, they've already had conversations, there's going to be enough people to be like, oh no, they would probably even voice that they will boycott that. Right. And all I'm saying is that just we really do have to kind of just look at, like, what are we fans of here, right? And understand the business side of it as well too. So I mean, that's a real thing. I don't want to cut out any option. If we can get Zach's story, I want Zach's story.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think at the end of the day, for me, it's always been like I got too much going on to like really be boycotting any, like, if my concern is really to boycott a company, like, at least on that nature of things, like, we're talking about entertainment here. To me personally, not that serious. You know what I'm saying? I got my own
preferences, but
I got my own things to worry about in my own life. For me to be like super upset and like, I'm not gonna watch what you're putting out, whatever. Now, can I choose where I want to put my money, for sure. You know what I'm saying? So like, again, I'm not intrigued to go watch Legacy in theaters, so they're not going to get my box office money. That's for sure. But like, will I watch it once it gets on streaming? Yeah, because it's still Superman. It's still DC. I'm gonna give it a shot that way and see what it's about, and and see if maybe I missed out on it in theaters. And then if it's good, I'll kick myself in the ass. Like, damn, I should have watched this in theaters. But if it's not, and I'm like, I'm glad I saved my money. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's never been that serious for me on that end. I feel like for me, it's always been the power of the petition. If everybody's just on board petitioning and promoting what we really want and just blasting that, you know what I'm saying, in all different types of fashions in a positive light, I feel like that I could see the efforts there, and why I would support that.
That was released a Snyder cut,
and that was
that's what you described.
Exactly, that was released a Snyder cut, because honestly, I don't recall nobody back then talking about boycotting anything. You know what? There was a slight minority that would voice that opinion, but I don't think anybody was like, on that, because it was like,
because you remember the Aquaman, right? Because like, okay, Justice comes out, right? And I didn't even go to theaters to see that.
Right.
I was just like, because we knew it wasn't Zach's vision, like from the jump.
Well, I'll be honest. I
had no idea.
I'll be honest. I didn't know. I wasn't tuned in like that. You know what I'm saying? I was tuned in to the amount of, like, I knew that there was this battle between, was Man of Steel good or not, and I'm here like, going at it with these hacks on online, like, why Man of Steel is a good movie, and same thing with BVS, and and so by the time Justice League came out, my mindset was, I still thought it was a Zack Snyder movie. And in my mindset, I'm still hopeful that it's going to be good. And to the point, I'm even trying to convince myself it was good.
You saw that mouth.
And I saw that, and I'm like,
I remember that day like it was yesterday. It was me, one of my closest friends. She came with me because we always watch DC stuff together, and my cousin. We were in Orlando. We went to City Walk right after going to the park. I'm sitting there. I'm like, yo, Justice League. This is before I knew anything. Like, we all excited. We're sitting there. And the first image of the screen is that face. And the first thing in my head, the first thing my friend says, she looks at me, she goes, why his face look like that? And I'm like,
it just threw
that's
everything.
Bizarro. That's Bizarro. I don't know. That's Bizarro.
Man.
I had no idea.
Even with that, when that came out, it was 2017, and so that's when I started seeing like Fiona's account and stuff like that.
That's when I saw
Ping Pong Flicks was active then, really active then. Dave Pena, Film Junkie. So that was like kind of very early stages right there. And then in 2018, you had Jeff Johns. He was on his way out, but it was an idea he was going to release a Snyder cut at that Comic-Con 2018. Yeah. And then you had Aquaman coming out. But I'm saying this to your point, Vega, where it wasn't no talks of boycotting. It was we have a chance to get this still, or like, there's a cut that exists, and a lot of the fandom supported Aquaman because Momoa was like, hey, I want to see the Snyder cut, so it was a different movement then. It was just more of like, hey, let's get Zach's movie. Now it's just like you said, it's we want Zach's movie, but like it's got to be a certain cinematography, and then it has to be on this platform, and then it's like
got to be green with red stripes.
It's doing too much right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%, and that's right. That's right. At the end of the day, the original movement was to just petition to get this movie and be active and engaging about it, and find different creative ways to make that known. It wasn't about boycotting anything. I mean, and I think the boycotting thing actually probably became the most prominent take once the studio didn't follow up with what would come after once they released Zack Snyder's Justice League. And there was from what I could tell, a massive what's what I'm looking for? Positive view on that film, whether people loved it, whether people liked it, or at least we're saying way better than the one that came in 2017. There was really no backlash about it. Maybe some people were like, "That's too long." I had to definitely do the whole. But it's like, but at least it was released in chapter form, so I was able to like hop in and out.
They knew it was better, no matter
but they
what.
knew it was still better, and that's the whole point. And then somehow, even after that, even after all the hype, the studio dropped the ball and didn't find a way to continue the story, or at the very,
2021. That was Ann Cernoff. Like that opening weekend when Snyder Cut comes out, Ann Cernoff's like, "Oh, Snyderverse over, guys.
Right,
that's it.
That was it. We gave you guys what you wanted. Please shut up now."
That's then Zach did the whole, suck it, Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And then at that time, people was like, "Okay, we're going to boycott Warner Brothers. We're going to boycott Matt Reeves, the Batman," and that's when that boycott stuff started happening. And but then it was a chance. Because of Discovery, Warner Bros. Discovery, they're gonna fire everyone. So it was just things got real murky then.
What a
because
time
of
that was, man! What a time that was. So that's really when I joined Seal Nation, because like it was the whole like Ben Affleck, the beard gate, and then that's when I came a part of it. And now you just opened my eyes to all this stuff, man. I was like, what? There's this, that.
Because Mikey came on board, and he back then they was trying to fix the Flash film. They was trying to catch that really early, and then we know what became of that. But well, I mean they had.
I'm still a fan of that film though.
They took out the good stuff, like there's scenes we never saw with Ben Affleck, with Cavill. So it's just a crazy time, man. Warner Bros. Did kind of do that to themselves.
Yeah. For sure.
But it just, again, that boycott energy, that's when that came. And it's like, this is what I'll say. Because like I said, I don't knock anyone. Like I said, you do what you want, with your money and stuff like that.
That's what you want to do what you do.
It just, that's just kind of like energy. I don't have the energy to be like, I don't want this to fail. I still want to just kind of campaign for, what I actually want.
Or at the very least, just be honest. That's my whole point. I think that's what that's what I should say. Let me say that. I just want to be honest. Like, I'm not going to be dishonest just for the sake of getting something I want. In the sense of like, just anything else that I see that's not what I want is trash. Like, I
feel like that's the new generation though. Like,
no, for sure. But that's why for me it's like I have to be counter that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta be what I'm gonna be. Like, you know what I'm saying? And for me, it's like I just gotta be honest. Whether I see something and I like it or I'm interested, I'm gonna be honest about it. Like, all right, it looks interesting. I'm gonna give it a shot. Or like, back to the Black Adam thing. Like, look, Henry Cavill's back. I'm gonna go see what's happening here, because I want to. If this is the way forward, then let me at least give that a shot, or give it its best shot to make something happen. But anything that I just dislike or don't, I'm gonna be honest about that too. So when I saw the Suicide Squad, I'm like, I ain't gonna see that in theater. I'll watch it on the streaming because it's there for free. I already paid for it, so I'll watch it. I saw it. I'm glad I didn't see it in theater. And then everything else that kind of ever dropped after that, Birds of Prey or anything like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that was a weird time, man. Birds of Prey. Oh my goodness.
Definitely a weird time, man.
There was still that glimmer of hope around that time too. That's the crazy part.
Well, I'll be honest. I think once I saw Birds of Prey, I think I had an idea of where it was going. I felt like you purposely dropped the ball now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it was like no Joker.
There's no Joker. Like, that's crazy. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. Like, what are you thinking? That to me let me know, like, you guys have no idea what the right moves are. So I kind of at that point was like,
wasn't that also around the time when they were talking about like replacing the whole Justice League with all women or something like that?
Yeah, that was the Hamada plan.
Oh my goodness.
After the original ending of the Flash, that's why I said they tried to save that, because the ending you was gonna have you still have the Flash and Aquaman, but then you would have had Batgirl, Supergirl, and I think actually no, because I remember Mikey said they was gonna replace Aquaman. He's using a Mera or someone there. So they was gonna try like a little wave, and then they was gonna try to do a crisis event to bring everyone back, but he would have ticked us all off at that time.
That would have been nuts.
That just would have been terrible.
Like, they were so like outside of the box when all they had to do was literally walk into the box. Like the box was right here, and they were just like, "Let me go around that shit."
Let's do something different here. It's like
that was crazy.
Scene right there.
The sandbox was set. Zack Snyder gave him everything they could have had. Nolan, for that matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys had the formula, and you guys just. Man, it's just crazy.
Let's boycott him, man.
I was just gonna say that.
Let's boycott these dudes. They're upsetting me.
You know what? About that boycott on you. But yeah, no. I think look, like you said, it's like do what you do. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I personally just don't have. I just don't have the my mind. I'm not built that way. I'll just put it like that. I'm not built in the manner of like. Fighting to that degree of like it's that serious to me. Like no, it's serious enough where I'll partake in the petitioning, the events of sharing and blasting and you know we need money for some sort of all right, cool. If I can pitch in, I got you for sure. You guys need a song, something, whatever. I'm there. All right, I got you. I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? But this idea that I have to like because that just never made sense to me. To be honest with you, it just never made sense to me because I'm like. So the studio in charge of the IP that you're interested in, even if it's told by Zack Snyder, you want to make them broke, and then you're convinced that they're somehow going to manage to get Zack Snyder's story out. That's why that boy kind of thing never made sense to me. I'm like, your idea is to come at their pockets, and then somehow they're going to say, "Oh, we're no longer making the profits, but you know what? If we make Zack Snyder's story, maybe we can grab the pennies we still have left." And make Zack Snyder's project, knowing damn well that his, vision, you want to put some good money behind that.
Yeah,
it's not cheap. It's not cheap,
right.
and nor should it be. You know what I'm saying? Nor should it be if you really want him to cook. So like that idea just never made sense to me for that reason. I'm like, you want me to not, you know what I'm saying? Like that's weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, that
doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Like we all said, we're DC fans, grew up DC fans. So I like the previous iterations, and so, I'm going to always be curious. And obviously 100%. The main stuff I cover on my platform, it starts with DC. Like, right. I wouldn't have had a platform if it wasn't, for, Snyderverse, DC, right. Then talk about other stuff. But so that's where it starts with me. And I knew it kind of went too far, like you're saying, people that's built kind of this way. When the Superman trailer, the teaser trailer came out, Carlos was on the panel when we watched this new Gunn trailer, and I had people messaging me like, "Sil, do you like the trailer? Are you going to say you like the trailer? Like, are you going to say that publicly? Are you going to?" I'm just like, bro, I'm like calm down, like
I'm gonna say how I feel, like
like either I like it or I don't. And they were just like, please don't say you like it. It's like, bro, like that's not going to determine anything. Like,
exactly.
If you don't like it, that's okay.
Like, were you serious? Were you really excited? I was like, yeah. Like Superman.
Was upset, bro. I'm just like, bro, like I'm sorry, I don't have the energy for all that, y'all. I don't. I really don't. That's
the thing. Like, I'd rather, again, that goes back to the honesty part. I'd rather be honest. I'd rather people be honest. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, all right, like, just be honest and be honest. But that just because you like it doesn't make you my enemy. I don't have to hate you or go against what you stand for just because you like something I don't like or that I'm not liking at this moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, like that's just crazy to me. That's just some crazy kind of energy. Like you must, and it just for me personally, not to throw shade, but this is some shade, I guess. But it's like, if you have that kind of energy built around this, I just have to imagine you don't have much going on in your life. For this to be the determining factor of who you're going to hate, who you're going to go up against. Like, this is it. This is where you choose to
let's
fight.
Keep it real. You nailed it on the head with that, because if they didn't have that energy with entertainment, they're gonna have that same energy in politics and real life stuff. And then again, I'm not built like that to be like, if someone disagrees or has a different angle, that it's like, but again, that's the energy they bring to entertainment. So I only can imagine, and like more serious stuff, it's like, oh,
Right.
man, what
That's what I mean.
kind of
So it's
person
like,
is this?
exactly. It's like you must really, I don't know, be lonely or something. Because Jesus, you know what I mean?
Just
Like,
fight about everything.
I saw this interview by I think it was Denzel Washington, and he talks about his morning routine, and he wakes up and he says before he does anything, the most he has at least 10 minutes of silence before he touches his phone and everything, and he lets that piece of him just being alone, of sitting in it, enjoying it, to then starting his day looking at the phone and doing all that. He says there is times where, he wakes up and that's like because he has to do it because he's human. But he says those days where he just wakes up and he just focuses, he stays in that silence, that peace, hears around the noise, everything around him. Like if more people were to do that, man, like it'll just be a whole different world. And it's like sometimes it's okay to go outside. Still love saying this. Go outside and go touch some grass,
Yeah,
go touch some trees or something,
just
like
literally just go.
it's okay, man. It's
lay
okay.
in grass.
Yeah.
Then come
Throw
back.
some dirt on your face, do something, bro.
Count the stars in the sky. The world is a lot more than just this.
So they waking up
in the street.
boycott. It's like, bro.
Spending billions and billions of dollars on putting posters of these hashtags, and it's like, like, hey, if that's what you want to do, go ahead. Like, cool. But like, come on, the world's too big for that. The world's too big for that.
It's again, it's all about energy, purpose, and honesty. That's for me what it's coming down to. It's just like this is really where you're choosing to put your energy into. That's crazy.
Real quick, because honestly, it's very easy if people like that negative. I call it the negative drift, right? And so I could have easily just been like, oh, Gunn got hired, oh, F Warner Brothers every single day, and you get viewership, people get viewership off of that, and people get engagement off of that. But like you said, Vega, it's like if I'm gonna be real about it, like if I really don't like it, I don't mind, like roasting something I really don't like. But again, if I'm really not built like, oh, I'm gonna hate everything, I can't pull that off. I'm sorry. Like I can't do it.
It's like this isn't that personal to me. Like this I'm not gonna pretend like this is personal. It's not. Now can I be honest and say that I disagree? Again, I said it earlier. I definitely disagree with Gunn being the head of DC Studios or co-head, whatever. I definitely disagree with it. I'm not a fan of everything he's done. I'm actually a fan of some of the things he's done as far as his art is concerned. So like, can I separate? Can I just objectively separate what he's done artistically with who I think he is as a person?
Yeah,
sure, of course I can. I can definitely do that because that's actually all of us, right? Like, if I'm gonna just judge everybody according to who, as if I'm a saint, as if I'm God, as if I'm like righteous than thou.
Yeah,
I can't
appreciate that,
like,
man. Go ahead, Vega. Amen,
like
Vega.
My hands are clean. Hell no, they're not.
Man, some people out there, bro, they be going. Like I had to tell someone in my chat one time, I'm like, bro, like you up here, but Gunn tweeted this 10 years ago and Gunn did this. I'm like, bro, I know you grimy. Like I see what you do. So how are you sitting there judging this dude like, oh, because you think morally he's off? You're off morally. You know what I'm saying?
And then, not only that, like, you want to judge him for things he did 10 years ago. Shit, bro. Like, if I'm be honest, 10 years ago, dog, this wall behind me didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this wasn't my lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, real shit. Right. So, like, I can't. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, does that mean that I think he's a saint? No, I'm not saying that either. Do I think it was trash of him to decide to do the Suicide Squad rather than something else, knowing that? If you're cool with David Ayer, why would you touch that? Right. Like, do I feel that shady? Of course I do. That's grimy as hell. That's shady as fuck. You know what I'm saying? That being said, does that mean because I feel that about certain moves he's made, certain things he said or even acted towards the like? Do I feel that warrants me to be like he's a trash director or like? No, not really, because that's a whole different thing. Now, do I like a lot of his films? Not really, but do I think they're all bad? No, not at all. Matter of fact, one of my
DC stuff so far. But.
Yeah, actually, one of my none of his DC stuff so far. I can say that.
Yeah, I don't like his DC stuff so far.
Well, you know which one I thought was actually good?
Brightburn.
Brightburn.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty.
Oh yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
yeah.
Oh, that's actually that was a pretty good film. I actually liked it. I thought it was
Mhm.
great. You know, like I said in the your live, I'm like, yo, like Guardians. You know, it's good. Do I give him all the credit? I can't. At least the success of it. I can't give the success of the film all the credit to him. But objectively, did I like the film? Like just the first one for what it was? Yeah. If I'm being honest, if Marvel didn't exist and that would have came out, it wouldn't have been as successful as it was.
No.
Like, people don't know who the hell they are.
That was such a key time for Marvel. It was after Avengers, so like everything was hot. You know what I'm saying? At that time. So
and the fact that it just it connected, it was like it was something you knew you could go watch and it's worth the investment. You know, like there's a lot of components to the success of a lot of those films rather than just what the films were objectively as their own.
And he played a part. See, that's the thing, because gun fans they get mad when I say that because y'all know this. I keep bringing this up where Nicole Perlman did all the legwork and research for Guardians. So she brought all the characters and everything and the story ideas, and Gunn put his flavor on top of that. So I'm gonna give him that credit. But again, that wasn't just him. That was my whole point. And then the Marvel formula on top of that. So I mean, that's a real thing. Now, did he run with it after that and put some stuff that people like after that? Yeah, under Marvel. That's true. And like I said, Guardians 3, anyone that's a naysayer that, can Gunn write stories and do that, I give him all the credit for Guardians 3. I think he's actually a good film, a good story. So, I mean, but again, that's just how I look at it. I'm not saying, I'm personally mad at Gunn, so automatically everything's trash. My brain can't work like that.
And that's what I mean by like being honest. I can't be dishonest in that nature where I'm just going to say everything's trash just because I dislike something.
Like to both of y'all points though, and I feel like with you, so like I feel like it's very like you could see it, like the people who are like just trashing something for the views or doing, like you can feel it, and I feel like that's why like with you, like for instance, like me watching your content, like it's like I know you're gonna tell me like the real because you just been like that since the beginning, like you haven't changed. So it's like when you see some of these people who like literally were writing, on some of the stuff you're saying, and now it's like they on some, like, it's just backwards, and you're just like, wait, 2 weeks ago we were just talking about this, and then now like so. But it's not just in general. You see that, and you're just like what's going on,
Right. That's always been my approach, and so it's like that's why I said, that's why I did the Superman channel, because I was like, okay, I know my main audience probably don't want to talk about Superman every video, so it's like let's do this. And
smart,
and that's an
algorithm
audience, and there's some Snyder fans over there too, where they're like, hey, I just want to see what they do, I want to see what Gunn does, and so that's just another conversation because I know this audience may not want it, so let's put it over here. And like I said, it's been real successful, so it's like, and this is just me naturally talking about it. Because like I said, when that film comes out, I may lose some viewers. If I don't like it, I'll be like, hey, this is trash, y'all. Like,
100%.
Shut the channel down. Let's just
but it goes back to like one of your I know Vega, you like to say this a lot, but it goes back to that moral conversation. It's like it's like man, you had me laughing. I kind of just lost my train of thought there.
I'm just thinking, like, it's gonna be real honest. Like, hey,
what happened to that Superman channel? I can't find it anywhere.
Film didn't do too well, y'all. We'll close shop.
Bring the truck back.
That's what's at stake. That's what's at stake this summer, y'all. That channel may not survive.
Oh, man. Kudos to your courage though to open it up. That was a brave thing to do, man. But go ahead. See, you were saying
nah, bro, I forgot. I left that in the truck right now. I forgot.
You said that's also in the truck now. It's already loaded up. Oh man.
man.
Okay. Oh man, that's just great.
With,
Look,
with that,
yeah,
in
with
other
that.
news, in other
yeah, another Oh man, in other news. Just to wrap that up, because yeah, we literally talked about this for 2 hours, guys. Yeah, that's crazy. So let's try and do our best to zoom through the rest if possible, please. I mean, not that I don't have a time limit. I'm trying to actually be respectful of your guys' time. I don't know what kind of time you guys are working with, so I just want to make sure I can include you guys both.
Yeah, so if you want to do one more topic, yeah, I have a little
what I'm
time. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll leave that where that's at. I mean, hopefully nobody got booty hurt and feel some type of way. We're just, again, these are our opinions, these are our perspectives, these are our thoughts. This is us being honest and just having true conversation here, true dialogue. And again, I'm hopeful for the best outcome out of the Zack Snyder topic. You know, I'm sure we all agree we want the live action, you know, wherever Zack decides to work or wherever he's allowed to work with it. And if we can get that, all the cast back, you know, that'd be perfect. Last time we were live though, guys, there was some beef. There was some beef, and not in the Twitter or X, you know, Zack Snyder community. There's always beef there, and I wish it wasn't that way, but there is. You know what I'm saying? But there was beef, right? And I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. Kendrick, R.I.P. Drake. You know, we got, you know, Cole was in the mix, some other guys, you know, Roz, whatever, but obviously the main two, you know, Kendrick and Drake, and well, we obviously saw where that went, right? And there's some other beef that also recently kind of made its way to the front line. So, but I wanted to kind of just pick up where we left off, though, right? Because we were talking Kendrick and Drake, and I have my opinions on where that's at now. You know, especially after listening to Drake or Kendrick's new work, listening to what Drake's been dropping, and then even Cole's what Cole dropped. And I just want to see where you guys at with that right now. Like, how do you feel that went? How it ended? Did it end? What are your thoughts? Because I have my thoughts about it, but I want to see where you guys are at, and then I'll share what I feel. But go ahead, whoever wants to go first.
Are you muted?
Oh, I think you're muted, bro. Or maybe your mic got disconnected.
Oh yeah, no, I'm muted. My bad.
Okay.
I was still in the truck. My bad. Nah, but I will say, you know, looking back, an apology is owed, in my end at least, to J. Cole. I see why he stepped down, not because of the you know what many will say, but this wasn't for him to be a part of. Right. And Drake, like, at this point, he needs to go with like Bad Bunny and just start doing some off genre music, because like, especially what he dropped after the Super Bowl, it's a loss for words. I mean, Kendrick, he asked for the boogeyman, and that's exactly what he got. Drake asked for the boogeyman, that's exactly what he got. But yeah, that's with those three. I think that whole situation is fleshed out. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. Like Kendrick is done. Like that's it. Like he won. Literally. Well, no, yeah. I'm saying Kendrick is done with like the beef. I think it's over with. Like it's. He turned it off on Super Bowl. Like it said, game over.
I got another take. Go ahead.
But yeah, I think Drake needs to regroup and just do something. And that's as simple as I'm gonna leave that right there.
Right.
Yeah. I kind of agree what you said, Carlos. The Super Bowl, the Super Bowl I thought would have been the end of this, but then you have the whole lawsuit thing that Drake's doing, and it's like, dang, it's like Drake just disappeared for like 90 days, bro. Like people, remember. I mean, because I said back then, I said, this was in the middle of Kendrick just like killing him. I'm pretty sure we talked. Did we talk about Not Like Us? I think last time we did.
Yes, yeah.
That was the last one we talked about.
And I was like, hey, this is like Jay-Z and Nas, where Nas dropped Ether, the streets chose Ether, like New York chose Ether over with Jay-Z, and Jay-Z had to fall back just for a little bit, and then he continued to be Jay-Z. You still got all this money, and I was like, that's all Drake has to do, like just leave this alone. And then, like I said, the lawsuit stuff came out since then, and so then Kendrick puts that in the Super Bowl performance about the lawsuit, and then on GNX, it's like I feel like Kendrick would have been done with this, because if you listen to GNX, obviously he recorded that before the lawsuit stuff. It felt like even on that, Kendrick was kind of like trying to convince himself like this is over.
Yeah,
but then Drake just keeps popping up. You know, because at least that's my interpretation of like you got the not Man in the Garden, the Reincarnated song, where it just felt like Kendrick was trying to say like I'm trying to be done with this beef. Actually, like I want to feel like I have to keep destroying people. Like that's
that don't make me
right. But it's like if you just left that dude alone, I think Kendrick would transition and just kind of, did his thing and still, made another Pimp a Butterfly type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's just my take on that. And so it's like Drake is the one actually keeping this alive for some reason. When it's like it's his L the entire time. Like it's
right.
You're losing every time you talk about this. And Kendrick is crazy. Like he's one of the most petty people I've ever like seen. Like
Serena.
You got someone that's an enemy like that, and Serena Williams, all that stuff. You have someone that petty, like he destroyed you. The world says he destroyed you. Leave him alone. Leave this situation. So I mean, that's just where I'm at. I think Kendrick, he's still alive. He tried to say it's over, but Drake, I don't get it.
I think Drake needs to go back to acting. That's what Drake needs to do.
I think I have a similar but different opinion from you guys. I agree Drake needs to drop it. I feel like he should have dropped it at the proper time. I think it's too late for that, and I'm gonna explain why. But then Ben, I'm gonna offer him some grace. And I say that because we mentioned last time, like you said, this is relative to Jay-Z Nas, beef. And obviously in many ways it was, but in other ways it's not. And like many things in this era are different. Why? Because of what we're doing right now. This internet, social media interactions does not allow things to die. Nothing dies because the internet keeps it alive forever. That's the unfortunate truth that we're living in. And unfortunately, I feel because the internet couldn't let it die, because negative grifters and things of that nature exist, and they rely on this, so they can't let it die. And I think because of that, it forces someone like Drake to feel like I have to still respond, so then he responded, right? And I say, and this is true, and this is how so I say that, but then also I feel like I'm not convinced Kendrick was letting this die either, to be honest. And I think he was going to milk this as much as he can, because I have a different interpretation from the GNX album or whatever it's called. Because I felt like, this guy's not done. From how it starts, how the album starts. I'm like, so even though if you get to like what the song you're talking about, where it seems like he might have a redeeming thought about it,
right?
But clearly it holds no water, because you still said what you said beforehand on a project that everybody's gonna listen to. right? So like you can't just say something and try and renege it with something else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's just that's just a double standard. That's hypocrisy. And and then so between what Drake did, right? He kept going, and I can see why he did. I think he shouldn't have, but I see why he did. Like I see that the internet kept him alive. They kept clowning him, and so he feels the need to respond still. Maybe I can come out of this. Maybe I can change. Maybe I can change the cards. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there's a change of.
I know. I'll sue.
Yeah. You see that right there.
You know,
can we touch on that?
Like, we will, because I'm not saying that I agree with that notion, but nonetheless, right? That's where it ended up going.
These Celtics fans,
because that wasn't even his first rebuttal. He initially tried to still keep rapping. I don't, there's some songs that he featured on that he was throwing jabs. Yeah. So
it didn't even make sense too, though. That's the thing.
No, for sure. Again, I'm not saying he was right or he did good. I'm just saying he tried to respond, and it just like Jay-Z tried to respond, and it didn't land. And unfortunately, because we're in this world of internet and social media, it's like you're making it worse, bro. Mm-hmm. Now, then, like I said, Kendrick drops his album, and again, I'm not convinced that the album. It sounded like he was very much still trying to fight. Now, J. Cole drops his single, and touching on the very essence of, again, having to do the same thing in a sense, like, man, people are still talking about it. I'm still being mocked for dropping out. Let me set the record straight why I had to and why I felt the need, but whatever, right? And me and you touched on that, I believe, right? Carlos, right? We touched on that song. So, and it shed light onto, which I personally, I was one of the ones that said I didn't want to see him drop out because I personally think he could have cooked Kendrick, and I think he did cook Kendrick with the 7 minutes. Was it 7 minutes, right? 7 minutes?
7 minute drill or something like that.
7 minute drill. Yeah. I think he cooked Kendrick on that track. And if it would have stayed there, I think he would have kept cooking. But now in hindsight, we saw where this went.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I told Cedos the last time we were on, is like, beef these days, and especially this one, got really personal in a weird way. Very personal. In a weird way, that it was just like, this is crazy that we're even up to this point where nobody's off topic. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it got crazy. Now, not to say that there haven't been lines crossed before, because like I said, if you go back to Super Ugly, Jay-Z kind of said some crazy things about his baby mama, about Nas' baby mama. That was like
some desperate. Yeah, punches.
And that was a desperate move, which at that time I saluted. I'm like, yo, he dropping that dirt. But again,
but you see that the crazy part about that
at that point though,
yeah. But the crazy part about that is that that started with them too. So like that was not that to say it was okay, but it was like you expected it because those two were going out jab for jab. So then like Drake tried to do this whole like, let's team up against him type of thing. And that is where, to me, it was like, if you're going to beef with somebody, go ahead and beef with somebody. And J. Cole's feel of it, I felt like he kind of did like what Eminem does. Like he's going to rap and talk shit about his homies, but that's what it is. It's a rap. Like, it's a beef type of thing.
Well, we have to keep in mind, 7 minute drill is a response to Kendrick, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like Cole started anything. Kendrick
right. It's response to like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like that, exactly. With his verse on like that.
Yeah.
So
Big
the
3,
7 minutes,
it's just Big
exactly.
Me.
It's just Big Me.
Yeah.
So, and again, at that point, that's still some playful,
that's all on wax. That's all
right.
Exactly.
Right.
There's nothing crazy about that. And then again, 7 minute drill, and it's like, nothing too crazy. Although, if we're gonna be honest, this is why I'm like,
I was rocking with it though. I was
for sure.
Yeah.
especially because he kind of came at this guy's discography. You know what I'm saying? Like heavy.
That's a Jay-Z tactic right there. Yeah,
that's a Jay-Z tactic, and it's a legitimate because it's like, if we're gonna be honest, let's really talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's look at this
morale. Like that's a worthy conversation. Like,
you know what I mean?
It wasn't Kendrick's hottest.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
You know. Yeah. So, but again, at least it was still about Kendrick, and it was just about still the sport of things. Or you, because in my mind, I would say something like that too, because I'm like, hold on, big me? It's just big you, bro. Let's be honest, Mr. Morale, dog.
and that's fair,
and that's still
very fair,
and that still can be translated as conversations between homies. Like, all right, homie, no, hold on, dog. Let's talk about
joint right here.
Is that fun banter back and forth? You know
what I mean? Yep. So it still didn't cross the line, but it was heavy. It was it was for sure like
it was a nice jab.
But only your closest homie could do a line like that,
right?
Yeah.
So. For sure, though, obviously now once Kendrick and Drake get at it and the way they did, that's when things went overboard, right? And Cole obviously made it like, dude, I knew this was where it was going. I couldn't participate in that. I'm not going to participate in that. Both of them as my homies. I really wasn't trying to lose anybody over this pettiness, really is what he was saying, because he knew it was about to get petty. Because if we're going to be honest, it all was petty.
Yeah.
Especially because in hindsight, and here's the thing, everybody knows I'm the one who I was definitely one of the first ones to say fight to Kendrick. I give this to Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're gonna be honest, it's like it's still petty though. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of what was being said was still borderline petty, or not even borderline.
On Kendrick's side, you're saying, right?
Oh yeah. Well, on both sides, but more so. I'm gonna tell you why Kendrick's more so. Drake still, because in the end of the day, you know, you brought in his baby mama. You're talking about you're trying to talk about his, you're trying to talk about things behind the curtain. Exactly. So, it's like, but at the very least, and the reason why when it came to me choosing who's winning or who and why, I said the problem with what Drake's rapping about is we all know about it, and this is why it's not going to phase Kendrick, because this is dirt that we know about Kendrick already.
Yeah.
On the opposite side, now when we're talking about what Kendrick was saying about Drake, it was a bunch of allegations being said that were new to us, on top of the very rhetoric and things about Drake's record that we already know. You know what I'm saying? From being pissed on to getting punched, you know whatever, his lack of street credibility, that he relies on other rappers that do have street cred to build his own. All things we know. But then once he started getting into that, like,
Did you say pissed on? Did I miss something? Drake got pissed on. Did I miss that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But you didn't. Dude, I didn't know about that.
Nah.
On Meet the Grams, like Kendrick went to.
I gotta re-listen to that. It's been a minute. But I'm gonna give credit to the guy who actually rapped about that, was actually Meek Mill. When Meek and Drake were beefing, he's the one who put that out in the spotlight about one of P. Diddy's bodyguards peeing on Drake, and Drake didn't do shit about it. Meek would know about that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right? And then if we give Pusha T his flowers with the whole, right. You know? And then we got to give Pusha T his flowers, because obviously he brought out the whole Adidas fact, whatever.
Right.
Things that we knew about Drake, Kendrick was brought to the forefront, but then when he brought up these other allegations, it was like, yo, we didn't know any about this. So that was going to give him the edge in the battle. Now, if we're going to be honest, and it's not to discredit anything that Kendrick did or said, but if I'm going to objectively look at this, it's like, you can say all these things and those are crazy allegations, but now it's like, where are the facts about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you can call somebody whatever you want, all the, to throw dirt and all that's like crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you're a pedophile, you're a racist, whatever. You can throw all those words and people are gonna gravitate and say, like, oh, that's crazy, and if it's and then that's a bad life, whatever. And all that's true. But if you really don't have like solid facts to back it up, then it's not really. What sucks about it is that what'll suck is that you ran this whole press tour throwing shade on this man, and if none of it was true, it's like, what the fuck, dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just hope people have the decency of being honest with themselves and taking the card away from him and like, all right, bro,
I'm gonna play devil's advocate real quick. And it's not too long.
That is me playing devil's advocate.
But like to push back on that a little bit, I feel like Kendrick was playing with how this generation is, because like we talked about Twitter earlier. You can say some outlandish stuff, and half of the world is gonna think it's true just because you said it, and just because Kendrick said it is like, you know, so.
And that's hip hop too. Like hip hop beef, like it's gonna be some embellishments. Like, you know, you go back, okay, you know, Tupac, Biggie, like hit him up, right? Did all that really like? Did Tupac embellish a little bit? You know what I mean? To the point where Biggie was like, well, Biggie, and really it was Puff, I think, telling Biggie not to respond, but it was just more of like, let's just not even go any further with this because it's gonna get ugly. And then when we say, okay, the streets aside, you know, Jay-Z, Nas, Jay-Z, I remember when Takeover, when that dropped, because Cole did the same thing that Jay did back then. Right. Jay was like, you know, was it one hot album every 10-year average, you know, on on Nas, right? And when I first heard that verse, I was like, dang, this is after Nas, he didn't put out his best stuff at that time before then. Right. You know, and Jay-Z was like, all you got is Illmatic, really, at this time, bro. And I thought Nas' career was over when Takeover dropped. I was like, damn, and Nas is my favorite lyricist of all time. And I was like, I don't know. You know, now Biggie did not directly respond to hit him up. Let's not even pretend. Maybe it was some jabs, you know, here and there, but let's not even pretend that one. Right. But I mean, before Hit Him Up, he was on that J track. You know, if she had twins, she probably had two Pacs. You know, he actually mentioned him, but then after that, Biggie, I was like, "No, let me just go to the clubs now." So, but anyway, I thought Nas was done, and it was all on wax. What Jay-Z says, like, your career is basically trash. You know, lame. You know, he was destroying him on Takeover.
Oh, for sure.
And then when Ether comes out, because it's kind of to your point, actually, Vega. When Ether comes out, the Street Society, this was a banger. Nas just threw a bomb on the situation. And Nas the one that crossed the line. So it's like with these beefs, it's almost like it never will stay like friendly jabs. Because if you get, you know, if it would be friendly jabs, you catch me with one. Jay caught Nas one, because at first it was just like little, you know, I'm better than you and stuff like that. And then Jay-Z really caught Nas with that Takeover. So Nas is like, the only thing I could do is go personal now. Yeah. All the stuff Nas was saying on Ether, it's like, man, he's talking about his lips and stuff he was doing. I'm like, Nas, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Him talking about Tupac. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not anything personal with Tupac. I'm not even worried about that. Pac was embellishing a lot on Hit 'Em Up, and people think that's one of the greatest diss tracks ever. And it is. My point is that you almost have to, if it's just like friendly jabs here and there and it stays there, but if you really catch me with one, and it's like, dang, I gotta get personal now. That's what Nas did, and so with
it only got to be one. It only got to be one.
Oh yeah, it takes one person. Like, okay, you think you got me? I got really. Yeah. So with Drake and Kendrick, again, it was that what was that, the first person shooter, Cole and Drake, right? And it was more of just like, I don't know. If I'm Kendrick, I mean, it had to be some subliminal stuff that really was like, oh, bro, like, you putting it out there like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just right, and it still was like on wax. Drake comes out with the drop and give me 50, right? That was still just like, yo, like,
that's everybody,
your splits is messed up. No, when he was talking about Kendrick though, in there, he was like,
well, drop and give me 50 was interesting, just because by that time, a few people kind of were already responding. You know, you had Ross involved, and so Drake kind of had to like pick and choose.
But just the Kendrick part, though, of that.
But the Kendrick part, even that, like you
he
said,
just kept that like he just basically is like, yo, you getting cheated out of your money. And I thought that was fair game. I didn't think that was like,
Yeah.
it was a little personal. You're talking about people's pockets, maybe, right?
But still.
But and then even after that, what at that time, Drake he does the AI, right? The Tupac AI, so like that. But this was when he dropped that, I was like, yo, Drake has a flow, and I was like, this is like fun banter. I'm like, oh man, Kendrick, you better drop, bro. Like Drake is, getting points on you.
Yeah.
And then so Kendrick comes out with Euphoria, right? Now at that time, it's questionable because in the song, Kendrick was like, I'm trying to keep this friendly, like we can keep it that way, but basically I'm hearing you trying to get dirt on me, right? And so that's when it kind of just went personal. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's just like at that time when Euphoria dropped, I thought it was still like an open game,
right?
You know what I mean? And it just Kendrick, just because he's just such a sinister person, he just kept dropping little stuff until Family Matters. Until Family Matters, Drake talking about his baby mom and all this, Dave Free and all this stuff. But it's just questionable who crossed that line first. Because like I said, with Nas and Jay-Z, Nas totally crossed the line first. He was just like, this is for my career.
Yeah, no. Here's what I'll say. I think I'll put it like this. I'm not sure. I still don't feel Nas crossed too crazy of lines simply because the line for me is come at me all you want. Come at me all you want. You want to come at my looks, how I look. If I look, funny to you, cool. You want to come at my pockets, my discography, cool. That's still within the lines, right?
Call him Gazy.
I don't know, bro. I don't know about that, bro.
Look,
listen, we
going
forward. You coming at me like that?
I get
like this. And this is what I mean. Okay, so we're looking at it from like wordsmithing, right? Like people are just jabbing off at each other, right? That's really essentially what it is. But okay, let me so you can get a picture of what I mean by this. If I'm fighting you, Sil, physically, and as long as I'm fighting you, no matter how I fight you,
don't bring nobody else.
But as long as nobody else comes in and jumps in, it's still a fair fight. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to get at. Like. That's no lines were crossed because it's a fight between me and you. I don't care if you punch me in my balls and that's a cheap shot, but the fight is still one-on-one. Still one-on-one. The moment someone else gets involved and gets touched or whatever, that's when it's like, yo, okay, we're crossing lines now. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's like I caught you with your baby mama, with your girl, and now she got the heat too. You know what I'm saying? Like even if it's on like if it's like. Not even, just say again, paint an even more severe picture. If I got a hit on you, catching you by yourself is one thing. You deserved it. You had it coming. But if I spray you when you're with your family,
right, then it's like it's got to be some kind of rule. You know what I mean? It's got to be some kind of unwritten law. Like,
you feel me? Yeah. And there is what I'm saying. Everybody knows this. So when it comes to this rap shit, I feel it's the same thing. Like, say what you want about the person you're facing. Like it is what it is because
don't bring nobody.
But don't the moment you bring in their moms, their wife, their baby mama, their kids,
and see that's what Drake did. Drake did that whole. That's what I'm.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Now that's why he definitely crossed the line, and that's why I'll say that he definitely did. Again, the only reason it didn't matter is because we already knew this about Kendrick. For the most part, this was information out there for anybody to see, like about his. Well, sort of, kind of like if you're not looking, you're not going to see it, right? Like,
he embellished some stuff, but as far as like directly saying like one of your kids ain't even yours, it's like, hold on, bro. Like, what? What do you even?
Again,
but
still crazy.
That goes back to Kendrick using what he has around him because he knows like that this whole conversation that we're having right now of yo, Kendrick went ham is that you remember how those 2 days that 2 weeks was. He said that everybody in the mama became private investigators to see if this kid was really Drake's kid. But then again, Kendrick could be, behind the booth cracking his ass up because he's like, I'm about to make him go crazy.
But again, I don't think that was the crazy part because Pusha took a jab at that. Pusha shed that light on that. Anybody who didn't know that was in question clearly wasn't paying attention to the Pusha T Drake beef because Pusha put that to the light. And at that moment, like, wait, Adidas isn't his? You know what I'm saying? Like there was already questions, about his parenting, if your child is whatever, all that stuff. Now
having more kids.
Yeah, and having more kids. Exactly. That was already in question. So that wasn't where Drake or Kendrick even crossed the line. Even though, again, once you're talking about other people, that is the line crossed.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is when it came to the like pedophile allegations, that's where it's like,
well,
that's where it's
still
like
one-on-one though, right?
No. Well,
to your theory,
for sure. But that's like a different type of, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like because there's criminal allegations there. It's because that's not even like that's something you can't even. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll put it like this. Even in the street, like, okay, I'm gonna tell you. So the difference between something like pedophile and then gay Z, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's the same thing to me.
I think so.
Maybe at a certain point, yes, but I'm gonna tell you why it's not. Because you could be a grown man, and you could choose whatever the hell you want, and it's your life. So you're gay, I don't give a damn. It's you. You know what I'm saying? You're a pedophile, my nigga. You touching kids? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's
that's worse. Like as far as on wax, like calling someone, you gay. It's like, okay, whatever, right? But at that time, you know, that was like calling him a pedo.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said you're right.
What Nas was doing.
That is, you know, back then that is that. But now
that was like, who's the gay rapper? Like that was like what Nas was doing.
But you see, hold on. So to your point though.
But in all fairness, even if he was gay then, let's just say that was crazy to hear then. It's not a criminal allegation. It's not a crime to be gay. It's almost. I'm gonna tell you what it.
Ultimately,
and it's almost similar to this. And just to kind of like even shed light on what might be the other beef we're going to talk about. Even when it came to like 50s beef, right? And where people were like questioning him like, dude, you're rapping about people's criminal business. Like you're snitching on people. You know what I'm saying? Because you're rapping about their criminal, you know what I'm saying? Like you're talking about criminal charges, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like now I'm not saying, like, here's the thing. If it's true,
hey 50,
kudos to Kendrick for doing it because he saved some lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if it's not true, shame on you for having people believe and possibly question whether a man was innocent or not. That's that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just because there's something more serious to that. Look, in hindsight, I'm saying I'm looking at it this way now.
Right?
Was I looking at it this way when it was being said? No, for sure not. I thought it was like, oh snap, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, he came at him. In hindsight, and I'm bringing this up because now we're talking about lawsuits.
Yeah,
people don't sue people if they know they're gonna lose. You get what I'm saying? And in hindsight, it's like, holy cow, like we should consider what happened here. What was said and the ramifications of what it meant. You know what I mean?
As far as who we talking about
now? Yeah, well, Kendrick labeling Drake as a pedophile.
Okay.
Because those are criminal charges. And even character-wise, we all know we're not going to look at it.
I got to push back on that, though. I got to push back.
That's not the lawsuit, though.
What are you going to say? You're okay with him being a pedophile?
No.
That's not the lawsuit, though.
Yeah. No. So for me, I don't think it's so much that Kendrick is labeling. Like, obviously he is. That's what he said.
He is labeling.
Yeah, he is. But
defamation lawsuit? No.
The lawsuit is against the label. Drake is very careful with the language where he's actually going at the label, saying they inflated the numbers. That is defamatory to him, but that's not what it. Kendrick is technically not being sued. It's the label.
It's the label.
Yeah.
I was under the
impression
impression
to be clear with that.
Kendrick, because I could have sworn I seen somebody say there was a defamation lawsuit being worked.
The language is in there. He's basically saying y'all boosting. First, he's like, y'all are my distributor, and y'all boosting this dude. With defamatory lyrics against me. I saw
defamation lawsuit. I assumed it was referring to the allegations. I'm like, so I didn't look too deep into it.
Hold on, real quick. So we talked about Nas and how he called Jay-Z, you know, the Fugazi stuff, right?
Call him gay,
yeah, he called him
gay. At that time, that was as serious as what we're talking about at that time.
But here's the difference between the Drake pedophile stuff and that.
Yeah.
Was there any allegations that Jay-Z was gay at that time?
No, definitely
No,
not.
it was
Okay,
just
so
this mystery. Again, it was like, who's the gay rapper? So now I was like,
Yeah.
it's Jay-Z.
right.
It's
But now, what I'm trying to get at is that Kendrick, there's been allegations.
Uh-huh.
You know, we seen the tweets with the Millie Bobby Brown and Drake
As
and
far
all
as
that
Drake,
stuff.
yeah.
No, for sure.
So
sure.
Kendrick, yeah, he's labeling him that, but there's some fire to that. So it's like he's using what he got around him, which
There's some sparks there. I will say, yeah, I'll give you that.
He's not just saying it like he ain't just calling him a pedophile like how Nas just called Jay-Z a gay. Like there's some allegations
That's
out there
fair.
that he's using
That's
that,
fair.
and he's like, all right, well, is this true? Like you out here, you know?
Drake has a whole album out right now that no one's talking about.
Yeah, and he you see, and this is why like we've been comparing it since this happened to the whole Jay-Z and Nas thing. Nas came back out after Jay-Z said all this crazy stuff, right? And he dropped that album just about that. Like that's what Drake should have done. If you really want to come back and say something, don't be sneak dissing and like trying to stab people.
The problem with Drake, he fall again. Like Vegas saying, it kind of mirrors Jay-Z, Nas, and at times it don't. But after that hot track comes out, again, Nas, Ether, Kendrick, Not Like Us, right? That next track, that next response, the streets already decided the beef was with Not Like Us. Everyone was like, it's over, Drake. It's over. It's it's over. It was over, right? And Drake tries to drop that Heart Part 6. That was like Jay dropping Super Ugly.
Exactly. That's exactly what that was.
It was just no punch to it. You know what I mean? And it's like, dang, like, okay, the battle is over, you know, and so that's just how it kind of mirrors that overall. And like that's
so are you expecting like a whole blueprint after later on?
So what Drake should have did, see, because like I said, if you're doing the Jay-Z Nas, it's like when it's decided. Jay-Z at that time, I remember hearing radio interviews where he just thought he was too big to lose. Right. He was like, hold up, like, you know what I mean? And he dropped like the Unplug album. And you know, and he did a live version of Takeover, but people was like, bro, it's over, bro. You can't do this no more. You gotta disappear. And but like I said, okay, so the time periods. So you're saying current times, social media, because I mean, what was that, 20 years ago, Jay-Z Nas?
Yeah.
You know, current day, I still think you could go dark. Like you could still get off social media for like 90 days, bro. Just chill and drop like a party track or something. That's what he should have did.
But that's what I thought he was dropping, bro. But he dropped this.
I think that's tough to say because again, it's this social media stuff that just keeps things alive. And again, it's the allegations that were thrown on him, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like so that's why when I saw defamation lawsuit, I thought it was going to be about that because I'm like, out of everything that could have been said, I felt like that's the most defamation of my character I would receive. Like, you're calling me a pedophile, you know? So I thought, all that to be said, like, this is how you know this is it. The only line that everybody knows synonymously about Not Like Us is A minor. That's the part that sticks out about that song. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the synonymous thought of that song to picture Drake. He is now looked at as a pedophile, bro. Like, cementally.
But again,
so listen. There's no going in the dark and coming out with the party song unless the video is gonna have a bunch of old ladies to change the perspective.
But like defamation is defamation. Like we talked about again, going back with Tupac, and maybe that stuff wasn't true with Faith, or who knows, right? But that was defamation. Again, the Nas, Jay-Z. I know you're talking about the criminal charge. I get it. Like if you're a pedophile, that's serious thing, bro. That's serious. It's just but really serious. All this stuff is defamation. You know what I'm saying?
Let's put it like this. Like again, when it comes to like, the numbers you're making, how you're being robbed, your lack of credibility in the street, whatever. all that rah-rah. Even the like, again, the gay thing with Jay-Z, and sure, at that time it was definitely on something like this, but at least it wasn't. Again, it's like to CeeLo's point is like, but there was nothing really around him that, it was just a funny line to hear that it was like, oh, he called, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if he is, damn dog, this whole time you had a star, you was that guy. But again, it wasn't nothing like this, where again it stays alive because of social media. Because back then
the allegations.
Yeah, back then it's just the radio stations and like the double XL and the all those. They're the ones talking about it. But once it was over, it's over. They're moving on to the next thing because that's how news outlets are. They move on to the next thing. It's over, and that's why Jay-Z could like, all right, I'm gonna let this shit die. I'll be back with a banger, and he's back, and he came back, and he essentially became the king of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's just not existent for Drake because, again, the allegations are crazy.
But that's the thing. If those allegations weren't there,
there
I
was
think he
these
would have been able
and
to
like
that.
CeeLo's mentioned, there was already like funny things about Drake's behavior, like again the Minnie Brown.
Well, I think that's the point, though.
You know what I'm saying?
Ain't that why that line worked, though? That's the point I'm making.
Thank you.
No, it does.
I understand if Kendrick's the only person saying, "Oh,
no, for sure, no, it does. That's not which he used it. But then there's also him shedding light on Drake's camp. How apparently there's
several cases, basically.
Yeah. You know, and
the crew can get it though. Like Nas went at all the Rockefeller. Jay went at
there's like
Nas
no
brothers.
pedophiles in his camp. That's crazy. No, that's not the thing.
That cover was crazy.
Yeah.
The pins.
Bro, you know what I mean? Now which he essentially is calling Drake Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like a pedophile version.
Yeah, man.
Diddy.
The way these rappers going to jail now, Drake need to just chill the fuck out. That's what Drake need to do.
Well, so see, this is what I'm saying. Like, if none of this sticks, it's going to be kind of crazy in hindsight. So I'm not saying again. This is me playing devil's advocate. I'm just trying to like different angles that this could play out because we really don't know how it'll play out in the end, at the very end. But how it's playing out now, optically, I don't think there was ever a scenario for Drake to hide because the internet exists, everything stays alive, and everybody knows about A Minor in one of the hottest songs still being played everywhere.
Yeah, it's still,
You know what I'm saying? Like
a year later,
it's played in sports. It's the places that you wouldn't even think a song like that should exist. It exists.
TNT commercials.
So there's no hiding that. So it's crazy. It's almost like it's almost as, and again, I'm not siding with Drake. I owe nothing to this man. But what I can say is it would almost seem as if there was a strategic thing happening that it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna bury this guy. Forever, because again, something like
to another point to that, though. Think that, to another point to that, though. Drake asked for this.
Shit, like sports, ESPN is playing this. Yeah. Like what?
Drake asked for that though. He asked for that type of,
You know what I'm saying?
Well, can we? And I know you're being again. I know you're just playing devil advocate, but again, to be fair too, if we're talking about again, I think in all hip hop, I don't think everything's true. Like I said with the Jay-Z stuff, even when you go back to Cube and Eazy-E, the No Vaseline, everything it was called Eazy-E gay in that song. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not all the stuff ain't true, but we gotta keep that same energy all around too, because again, family matters. Drake was making some terrible allegations in that. So, talking about the whole, domestic violence stuff and things like that. If that ain't true, it just that song didn't pop.
But see,
not like us.
I would say, but see, those allegations were known. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
wait, hold on. That goes back to what I was saying.
The domestic violence case that Kendrick had was known.
He talked about Mr. Morale, right?
Yeah.
I get that, but that's what I'm saying. On the same note, I understand if they originated just with Drake.
Album talking about his pedophilia.
If Drake,
at this point,
because that's criminal as well. If you're talking about domestic abuse, you know what I'm saying? But if Drake was the only one talking about that, that's one thing. But he was using what was out there, right? And all I'm saying is that Kendrick was just using what was just out there,
right?
And he just put the stamp. He put the stamp on it. You know what I'm saying?
Again, I'm not. I'm not.
I get your point though. Yeah,
I'm not
Yeah,
completely
I got
knocking
you.
him for it. What I'm saying is, I do believe there could be some lawsuit allegations if none of it is true, right? And there's like a defamation case here. I do believe it could backfire. That's all I'm saying. But not to say,
Right.
again, you guys are right. I agree with what you're saying. This
and that's not hip hop, bro. If
You know what I'm
someone
saying?
gets you on the track, again, I don't
But
think
again,
any of these diss tracks. I don't think everything's incredibly true. Like I said,
Yeah.
Jay-Z could have sued Nas for defamation. Of
My
character.
thing is that he asked for this, bro. Like he asked for this beef. Like he went out of his way to sort out Kendrick, and Kendrick came back, and his response is not an album, not a thing. It's a I'ma sue you. Like that to me is like
That's not hip hop to me.
No,
bro.
100%, 100%. But I would say again, just to play devil's advocate, under the pressure of what the optics look like, and as we already mentioned, and how it was even mentioned in the comment section, 8 songs, ain't nobody talking about you. Clearly, something went wrong here, right? And you have to wonder. If it's like, damn, does everybody really believe I'm a pedophile now? Nobody wants to listen to me.
I think it's worse that he doesn't say anything about it, because now you're like, all these allegations. All these allegations.
The lawsuit on the company is him saying it. But again, it's not against Kendrick, but that lawsuit is saying, there's some defamation of character and y'all pushing it.
Yeah,
that's his statement right there. But I mean, it's weak to me. I think that's weak. Because like I said, back then with Jay-Z, if the accusation was, okay, Jay-Z's the gay rapper, does Jay-Z have to come out and be like, no, I'm not gay? Like he don't have to come out if it's not true.
Pussy.
You know what I mean?
But I will say again, I feel the difference there is Jay-Z wasn't under the pressure of social media, of how it keeps beef and allegations alive. And again, outside of Nas throwing that at him, nobody really thought he was gay. You know what I'm saying? Where in this, there is, again, like we all noted, there's things flying around that, where people were already questioning his character there. And then there's this, like, again, this.
It's a fine line with that, I think.
Like for me, I'm a sports guy. So it's like that type of like comparison that you're doing right now, it's very valid. But it's also like, that's like a talking about like a LeBron and Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan didn't have the social media that LeBron has now, so it should be like it's gonna obviously look worse for LeBron at this point. Yeah. But like, that's just the generation. Like that's just kind of like how it is. I as from what I've seen, like putting 2 and 2.
Well, together. It's hard to do apples to apples with that. But that's why it's like in Jay's time, still, again, minus the social media, you still had like the message boards back then, and again, radio was a huge part, and that's all they were talking about was Ether, like that whole like season. So I'm just saying, I mean, just trying to translate it to now. But I think social media went crazy over Ether right now.
Yeah.
Yes, if Ether, if they were in our timeline, yes, like if that would have been here now, and there's 2 reasons why. It's not even just social media. It's not just that. I'm saying that because I feel that's the biggest component. Secondly, but the reason why it's the biggest component is the second fact here, and that's that hip hop is a lot larger in how it's covered now compared to how it was then. Like, we just have to be honest about that.
Yeah,
hip hop has become a cultural dominant thing.
We have billionaires in hip hop now.
You know what I mean?
Compared to 20 years ago.
Compared to 20 years ago.
Yeah, 100%.
So things are covered differently, also, right? Where then the radio stations that we're talking about, or whatever magazines and messages, it's like so little in between compared to how many there are now, and 2, it's like we're trying to move on to the next thing because that's how that just works. It's like, all right, let's talk about the next thing.
Well,
we can move past
just a wave.
It's just a wave, exactly. Now things live longer, though. You know what I'm saying? And and again,
I really think.
Well, I'm not convinced. I'm not. Here's the thing: we don't really know.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced Kendrick was done either, though. If I'm gonna be honest, I just don't know if he was done.
Yeah.
Either.
What? Yeah. Embellish because, like I said, listening to okay, you talking about the reincarnated track where it's. Did you get kind of like a hint of DMX with that too, where he's like You know, that's one of my favorite tracks. But it's like
yes,
he was saying he was trying to, you know, kind of put down the sword in that track. But you think that was more of a, I don't know, kind of like contradicting himself, or like what?
I feel
Because I get the beginning where he's like, you know, at first he was like, you know, F this nigga, but now it's, you know, fuck everybody, right? Was what it's like. But then he kind of, you know, you get to Reincarnated, then all of a sudden he's doing, you know, singing with SZA and stuff. So it's like, I don't just the structure of the album. I'm thinking like he was kind of like, I'm coming out of the beef. But what did you say you think he wasn't done?
I'm gonna tell you what So I don't think he was done. Not necessarily just with Drake. I think he realized his bread and butter is beef. I think he realized that because I feel like he's even in the Super Bowl performance, he chose to, and it's not to say that he hasn't done this before, where like he comes at everybody. He likes to like make himself
that control verse, like right?
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not that that's new. And again, I'm not, and I think this kind of goes back to even what Cole was saying about him, which I think is true about Kendrick's character, and that's that you feed off of this because you constantly do this. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot. You know what I'm saying? And and it's the fact that he's even like choosing different things to fight about now, right? Like, and how I mentioned to you guys in the message, like I don't know where you guys are, but apparently there's this even beef. He's beefing with freaking comedians now. You know what I'm saying?
Andrew Schultz.
With Andrew Schultz.
But for some reason, everybody got an issue with Andrew Schultz except 50 Cent. Like I don't know what's going on.
50's a funny dude.
I love 50, bro.
Yo,
50's a funny dude.
50
Have y'all heard about him and Meech?
Yeah. Right well, that was the other beef that I for sure want to talk about, because I was like, I was kind of thrown off by it at first because I'm like, wait, what? Like,
you know, like, out of nowhere.
Really out of nowhere, you know.
Quick story with that. It was literally so, you know, 50 has that show BMF, which is about Big Meech, and he has his son playing his father, Big Meech. Right. So the whole thing with that is when Big Meech came out of jail and he's on parole, you know, he stays home. The first thing 50 did, he was there, he gave him money, all this stuff, and then a couple months later or a couple weeks later, fucking 50 catches him chilling with Rick Ross on like a big performance and stuff like that. And he's just like, you already know me and Ross don't, you know, we have this beef and you're over here with the ops, you know, and he's, you know, apparently he snitched and all this other stuff. And then 50, you know how 50 is when you
allegations.
Allegation. Yeah. But when 50 gets a hold of it, it's true. So
I don't know. And I like 50. I do.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know, bro. Like, and I feel like he's the last one to talk about snitching. Low key, you know what I'm saying? Low key, you're the last one to talk about snitching. But yeah, so I got wind of that. I didn't know, but I didn't know the first parts. I was like, wait, what? But so I caught wind of him chilling with Ross, and that's what kind of kicked it off. But I didn't have that extra information. But even then, it's like, bro, who are you to even make an issue out of this man choosing to hang out with whoever he wants to hang out with? You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares? Especially because I'm gonna tell you why. Especially because he has no relations to you or Ross, really and truly. Let's just keep that a buck.
Well, no, I think he does. I think Meech does, especially with how this show. So this show that was made is pretty much a docu of his life, but it's like obviously, you know, dramatized. It's a drama series, but he approached him like nobody wanted to do this story. He went out of his way and made this story about him. Like he everybody forgot about Big Meech in the big house because he was in jail. And I'm talking about money in the books. I'm talking about like 50 did a lot for this dude. And you get out, the first thing you do is you go to his guy who's
but like, I guess let me say this. You really think, all right, if all you're listening to, let's just say, is 50, what 50's saying, his word is, let's just say it's what it is. It would paint the picture, oh yeah, he's the only one looking out for Big Meech and he's the reason Big Meech. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's true. Because in the end of the day, like, there's other rappers that mention Big Meech. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a name that was thrown around because it's like, yo, we all know who Big Meech is, the same way we all know who Larry Hoover is. You know what I'm saying? The same way we know who all these guys are because of their prominent fame due to their criminal enterprise. So this idea that nobody was fucking with Big Meech except 50, like, I'm sorry, bro, I'm not buying that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now,
the only reason why I take it to that note is the reaction of Lil Meech when all this went down. Because right now they're promoting BMF, they're promoting all this, and you know how 50 is. Once you in that beef battle with 50 ain't gonna stop. He ain't.
Oh yeah. He's
pretty petty too. Yeah,
petty's like an understatement of what.
Yeah, no, right. That's he's got that unlocked way over
text messages of Lil Meech talking about like, oh, how you gonna do this? Like we were family and all this, and 50's like, bro, like you mess with the ops, you mess with the other people I don't mess with. That's it. You ain't part of my circle no more. You know, it is a lot of it is for social media. I ain't gonna sit here and front.
Yeah,
a lot of it is
showmanship too.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. I mean, because honestly, who cares?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Especially because it's like Big Meech isn't really a rapper. You know what I'm saying. So it's not like that's not
right. Yeah.
So, but 50 has all together, and this is 50's again. He knows how to work that. He knows how to work.
Yeah. Because everybody's tuning into the show now.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying. So it's like it's not like
kind of like wrestling almost.
Yeah,
almost.
It's like
WWE
you know
type shit.
You set up the heel, you know what I'm saying? And I was then, you know. So I will say
with power too.
Yeah, exactly. The same thing, and that's what I mean. I just feel like when it comes to 50's beefs, I don't take them as serious because I just feel like everyone he's beefed with, it's like I feel like what he tries to put out there kind of holds no weight considering who he was. You know what I'm saying? And the allegations surrounding him. Like you can't throw shade at somebody who supposedly snitched when you snitched. You know, whether it was directly as a confidential informer or indirectly, cleverly through songs, you know, where you got people arrested. You know what I'm saying? So
that's crazy, bro.
You know what I mean? So it's like
that's really crazy.
You're saying like you can't.
You see these conversations. It's tough for me because you see, I try, especially when we have these conversations, to look at it out of a different perspective,
outside the box a little bit.
Outside the box because I am a fan of 50. So it's like
same here. Dude.
Yeah. So it's like when I see that, it's like, damn, like I don't know, I don't want to believe that, but it is true. You got, you know, it is. I mean,
true. I'll put it like this, bro. You had because for whatever reason he decided to beef with everybody, right? When that whole Ja Rule and decided to do the New York song with Fat Joe and Jadakiss, which is crazy to me that you would even think to go at these guys. You don't just go at the locks, bro. That's nuts. You know what I'm saying? You don't. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is a testament to different time, different era. Because again, I feel if that beef would have existed now, 50's career would be in the same position Drake's is in, because the locks came at him nasty.
Yeah.
Fat Joe even came at him pretty nasty. But for sure, the game even came at him pretty nasty. Like, dude, everybody came at him.
But it wasn't on the radio.
It just wasn't on the radio.
These were like unreleased like stuff.
You know what I mean? So it didn't exist. Music didn't exist the same way it exists now through online and. You know what I'm saying? Like it just didn't. And that's the unfortunate part because again, if those songs like 300 Bars and Running or Miss Jackson, dude, if these songs would have been on the radio or got the same attention, then 50 would have had the same scrutiny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because again, the allegations were like, bro.
I mean, he still would not have been called a pedophile. Though,
you need like it had to be like an actual radio track, like the radio had to pick up the track for it to even mean something. Like remember LL and Cannabis, you know, when which is kind of it's kind of wild that situation. The more I like look back on that, where Cannabis basically he was happy to get on LL Cool J's song right back then, and then. He was like, yo, what he's talking about? It's crazy. But he went at LL kind of nasty, like on his own track. And LL was basically like, take that line out and it ain't gonna be no problem. Cannabis takes the line out, and then LL goes back into the booth and like destroys Cannabis on the song. And I'm like, that's kind of dirty. Because like if they back nowadays, that whole verse would have came out, like, oh man, Cannabis kind of got LL, like you know, but it just that's different times, like you said. Just different.
That's like well, I mean, it's a little my time. I'm dating myself here. Like how young I am, but like freaking Eminem on that Forever track, he talking smack about everybody on that track. Talk about Drake, talk about Lil Wayne, Kanye. Yeah. He went ham on that.
That was a fun track though to hear though, because it was like
it was. They
were all essentially claiming to be the best in the you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was a funny track, but like in that essence, that it's like they all were perpetuating the same message in the sense of like they all believe that they're the one. Yeah. So I think that's why Eminem's verse doesn't get that kind of recognition that you're looking for out of it, because it was like, well, they all said the same thing. His might have been the more
direct,
not direct, but like I would say bombastic about it. You know what I mean? Like where it may have seemed like he was throwing like some jabs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I took it definitely as some jabs in that.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, yo,
but
then the way it played out, like he was the last one to say his verse as well. So it's like it came after all that. So you're like, oh shit, wait, hold up, what's going on here?
But again, that's also like then you have to think to yourself like, maybe this is why it doesn't hold the same steam, is because it was still left on the track. It was placed last because maybe respectfully. Well, that was Drake's song, I want to say, right? Yeah. Maybe respectfully, he just that's his way of saying he got the verse out of the track like that. That was for sure.
Oh,
yeah. You know what I mean? You know, and again, it's not to even take away from the other guys, because I feel like everybody had a line that I was like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, but then like a few years after that, you had the Kendrick Control verse where that should have been the last verse in the song,
right?
Because you J-Elect coming after that, and like I'm like, bro, like I would just cut this shit off, bro. Like this dude just destroyed the entire industry. You know what I'm saying? And he coming in, alhamdulillah, 1, 2, 3. It's like, nah, bro. Put the mic down, bro. Man.
I agree with that sentiment. I do.
Said Cole would have got him. I mean, hey, like I said, with all beef though, it's got to get personal. And I think Cole was just like, I don't even want to get grimy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I mean, lyrics wise, Cole, yeah, he's one of my favorites. But I get kind of what you're saying, Vega. Like Kendrick, Cole was right. Kendrick does kind of rely on the beef a little, a little bit, because what's the album that people consider is not his hottest? Is the Be Free one, Mr. Morale. Like that was like all just reflective, and it was it was all about him, right. But when you throw a shot at someone else and it's like, hey,
which
so to that point real quick, because like we brought up Eminem. Would you say he's kind of on that same level where he's more of like I mean, because Eminem does got some tracks, obviously he's Eminem, but his bangers are all like not quote unquote beefing with somebody, but he talking shit about somebody mainly of his songs. To whereas I feel like Kendrick is like this kind of, it's crazy to say, this generation of that. Like he kind of need that that back and forth banter as well. Like would you say that that's kind of like the same?
I mean, it's like comparing eras again, right? Because like,
yeah.
If he was at his peak right now, Eminem right now, that would be kind of nuts, like for the industry. You know what I mean? Because it would have been, I think, just all his disses would have been magnified, and so yeah, I would say that if you're going to compare to now. M in his prime, because Kendrick's in his prime right now. So
right.
Yeah, you got M in his prime right now. I think he would have got ugly on a lot of people. I think
for sure he would have. But I'll say this: I'm going to tell you what in my mind, what separates the two, to why it's not necessarily the same catalyst to what made Eminem. Why it's not necessarily that factor, and this goes back to just era and time of when something's taking place. That to Eminem's benefit was, in a sense, groundbreaking not necessarily groundbreaking, but it was a moment in time where, apart from whatever beefs he may have had, it was also that he was open about the industry coming at him, trying to censor him about his music. And he appeared to be a rebel against that machine censorship that we were all not unaware to, but like again, it was just he wasn't holding back on that, where other artists probably wouldn't have chosen to make industry or not even just industry, but like they wouldn't have chosen cultural what's what I'm looking for, cultural not stigmas, idols. Like, for instance, when he takes his jab at the Catholic Church, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I don't know. There's really no other rapper who's done that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He came out the gates like that.
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was coming at anything and everything. He wouldn't censor himself. That's what made Eminem.
He was against the grain.
That's what made him like hip hop, because again, you got this white guy coming out, can flow with anyone, and he's with Dr. Dre, right? At that time. And people still waiting on the Chronic 2, when they can, with the sequel. But so he come out, and then again he's saying all off the wall stuff, talking about killing his mom, and so just crazy, crazy,
killing his wife, leaving her locked up in the back of the truck.
Like it's like about that. So it's like, and then on top of that, I think all that mix, and he was
it's a combination of all that,
quote unquote hip hop at that time. And then he became the biggest artist in the world right after that as well, too, as far as numbers wise. So that would just say like a rare scenario, really, how he blew up.
It was a combination of all those things, because then also keep in mind, like, he had songs like Rock Bottom, you know what I'm saying, where it's like everyone could relate. Like, we all, like, he had music that was for the streets on that aspect. It wasn't necessarily gangster shit. It was like real shit, like, damn, no, like, yeah, like, you relate to that message, because
the Slim Shady LP, was that the one, the way I am, like he had all like that stuff people just like resonate with, like, dang, like that's wild right there, right?
I'm cleaning out my closet one more time. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. It's like
he was dropping with Slaughterhouse as well too. Like that was a time.
I like his style. Royce 5'9", he's very underrated. Royce 5'9" to me. Yeah, they had Button back there, right? Yeah, Joe Button.
That was back when I actually fucked with Joe Button.
Hey, that's the only time.
When Eminem was with him though too, like they were kind of they were pretty much
you know what? Here's the thing. I actually fucked with Joe Button though, man. Like, I really did. Like, even his first album, I actually rocked with it. I thought it was a dope album. He had
that was a hit. Yeah.
It was a hit, and there was a lot of songs on there. That Fire track with him and Busta, like, it was
dropping some stuff. He had some mixtapes.
Yeah, and the mixtapes he was dropping was really fire. Yeah. And then obviously all the way until he gets to the Slaughterhouse, and I was like, man, I thought that was a great addition to that group. It was, those guys, man, like I kind of hate that it didn't become anything greater than what they were.
He held that back. Like, you had M's name attached to it. So I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
That album was nuts, yo, with M.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, Ortiz on there. Everyone was dropping like hot verses. I'm like. Why didn't they pick up?
Yeah,
I will say that was probably the first time like a hip hop group like that was really like a rock star group. Like, that's what I felt when I was listening to them. When you seen like they were like a rock band, but they were out here just slaying people, rapping. Like, it was crazy,
spitting. Like, maybe because they didn't have a radio track, really. Maybe that worked against them at that time. Maybe that's what it was.
Possibly, man. I think they were probably betting on the internet.
And Polly
too early, too soon.
Yeah. What Vega touched on with the whole like the industry against Eminem as well. I think that was big on that too. I think.
For sure.
That kind of didn't help it grow. And I mean, fucking Eminem was on drugs 24/7. So I mean, like it really did.
But he was still hot though.
Right.
Eminem didn't like really fall off. Like,
that we're talking about
until that. What's the album that one out before that garbage album he put out? Like that's when an America album or something like that. Like that's when it fell off to me. You know, and it was after the drugs too. Like I mean, he was some of these guys when they on
You
drugs.
talking about like the Rap God era?
What? No, he wasn't hot no more when the Rap God dropped.
Yeah. You're talking about like before that.
Before that.
Yeah, but
he tried to
the
come
crazy
back
part is Rap God goes hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the crazy part. Is like I'm like, yo, like he's nasty. He really is. He's one of the nastiest to do it for sure. Like
he became like genreless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like
certain artists. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, the industry, it just went in a direction he didn't fit in anymore. That's what I feel.
Yeah, because I like the album. The what's that? Music to Murder by something like that. That's like a hot album.
Yeah,
but it didn't. It was after all this stuff, right? And it's like it's him trying to kind of go back to that, but like you kind of past that now. You know what I mean? He got into a weird place. You know, he's eating off of royalties right now. He don't have to come out with another song.
He really don't.
You know what I'm
saying?
And he just dropped the album with Dre. We did the reaction to that.
Oh yeah, you're right. And actually, that goes hard.
That one song it was him, 50, Dre, and Snoop all together.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that goes hard.
No,
that goes hard. Yeah. So it's to go back to the what was it? The 50? Yeah, the 50 each thing. It's just I just feel like.
It's more comical than
yeah. It's more comical. It's strictly entertainment aspect, promotional. I don't think that's definitely not on the level of something as serious as the Kendrick Drake shit. Yeah, that again, just due to the internet, due to the way we're living. Old
dudes just arguing back and forth, you know.
Yeah, it's just old dudes arguing back and forth. Although it's funny. Did you guys hear that? Is it cocaine nights, cocaine light, cocaine white? That new Jim Jones shit.
Nah,
it goes, bro. Like I'm like, yo,
he got a new song out, Jim Jones.
I think it's a whole album, bro. To be honest, but there's this one song called Cocaine.
Jim Jones back.
It goes hard, dude. The sample they used is sick.
Is he going to Cameron or something?
Let me hold on. I'm gonna tell you what it is. I literally just heard it like not too long ago.
That's probably what he needs to do for it to blow up. Because they had that little
White Lines. It's called White Lines, featuring Dice Peso.
But I don't know Jim Jones. I don't. Like he has to like really be dissing someone for me to listen to that. Like really.
You're right. No, honestly, the best Jim Jones is probably when they were beefing with Jay-Z. When Dipset was beefing with Rockefeller. That was
Dipset, man. They came all hot, man. That time, bro.
That was their era. But a lot of them were hot then. That was what was cool about that time. There was a lot of
there's like a couple tracks at that time, like they was killing the radio.
Ballin',
Oh Boy, and Ballin', and then the Hey Ma. That was a hot radio track.
Yep.
They was killing it back
music.
then, right?
Yeah, they were killing it. I
wasn't really that big of a fan of Cameron. I remember, before Cameron really blew up, and when I was listening to like old stuff with him and Murder Mace. Mace was like pre-Bad Boy Mace, like which is like a killer. You know what I'm saying? Like, then he put that shiny suit on. Like it was so wow, bro.
Oh shoot, dude! Yeah, no, for sure. That was that era, bro. Fucking man. Yeah, they don't do it like that no more. I'll tell you that much.
Man, but I said now the internet blew up. Now it's like, you don't get just like straight projects like that. Like you gotta be like Kendrick right now or Drake. That's the thing that I said with Drake. Okay, you lost the battle. Just chill out, make like a banger album. Everyone's gonna still rock with you because who else can drop an album that people like? I don't know if y'all listen to Playboy Cardi.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's cool. The beats are nice. This new one he just dropped. Right. The beats are nice, but like lyric, I really don't count on him for lyrics. Like to be quite honest.
But that's like a Metro Boomin type of thing, with Playboy Cardi.
It's a nice project, but it's like obviously Drake could drop something that's going to do more numbers than
This should
Cardi.
not have been the album that Drake released after this whole situation. This shouldn't be
the one with Party. Yeah. Well, if he was going to do that, he need to come like with a club track, because I think people don't mind if Drake makes some dance. Like that's what Kendrick was saying. Like just come out,
But that's what I'm saying. So like in that album, he's trying to sneak this. He's trying to.
He was. That's what he definitely tried
with
to
with a little knife that looks like this. A little pen.
Yeah. What's that track?
Drake, it's over. Drake, it's over.
What's it? Which track? Are you talking about the hug track or something like that? I was like, bro, you gonna diss someone? Track talking about give me a hug. What
are we doing?
Like what you got Aaron Hall singing at the end? I'm like, bro, what is this, bro? Like, what? I turned it off immediately.
There's a reel out there, right, where it shows this guy. He's like pretending to rap on the album, and he's talking about like how his girl left him, and regular Drake stuff. Then all of a sudden he's like, fuck this guy, fuck that guy. We're like, bro, that has nothing to do with the album. Like, what are we doing? Right. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't take 90 days off, Drake. Like, just come out with a banger.
Better yet, his next album needs to be 90 days off, like that. And then just that's
I'm telling you, the next song, whatever album, track, whatever single. It has to be him talking about like loving some grown women.
Yeah, just see,
bunch of grown women in this video.
Yeah.
Unless he pulls a 180 and has Millie Bobby Brown just show up in the music video, that would be nuts.
That would be right. Nuts. And honestly,
a song called "Stranger Things."
That would hey, low key.
That'd be
wild.
You know
what? Low key, that would be wild. Low key, that might actually work. But then the chances might not work. It might be like
you won't beat the allegations with that.
Yeah. That's like you did it. You waited until she was old enough, and now she's in your video.
then it's grooming.
Yeah. And the whole thing now is that she's dressing up like she's 42 years old and all this stuff. If you see all these posts of Millie Bobby Brown. Ridiculous.
He should stay as far away from her as possible, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that wouldn't help. Like the crazy part is, it's the insanity of it that might make it work, but in this generation, face value though, with everything that's been said, that's not the move. That's how that would go.
Kids are gonna be sitting there like, I told y'all.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I low-key I can't even. So I found the comments from Facebook. Somebody's like, Ben Affleck can be the new Alfred. Oh Jesus, that's a crazy take. Oh yeah. But so all right, it obviously we all okay. What I would say is this: Can we all just maybe? Am I the only one? But I'm kind of over. I was over already. The Kendrick thing. I kind of wanted it to be over already. I didn't need the Super Bowl to be what it was. If I could be honest, it didn't have to be that. It was crazy that it was. It was a power move for sure, but I didn't need it because in my mind, you already won.
I mean, for what the game was, I think the NFL needed it 100% because that was the best thing about the Super Bowl. But it definitely is over. I think it's done.
Yeah. I just, for me, it was like, it was already done. I guess that's where, but that just goes back to my point where I just feel like Cole hit it on the nose when he says that this is what you feed off of. You kind of need this. I think for me, that just proved that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know you won. You know what I'm saying? You know you won. You know what I'm saying? You really didn't have to do this. Now you're just you're essentially like pissing on the coffin. You know what I mean?
Like, you talking about the Super Bowl? Like what?
Yeah.
When is it too much? Like
the Super Bowl. Like I just feel like that was you pissing on the coffin. Everybody knows you won. You know what I'm saying? Like
he kind of had to. There's no way you get the Super Bowl.
Samuel Jackson said it best. The crowd wanted it. We wanted to see that.
I mean, I understand if it's like next year, but like this is like the track blows up last summer.
Yeah, no, it's still technically, I get that.
At the Super Bowl?
I get that. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'll put it like
Hey,
this.
Sills is a numbers guy, bro. He's a numbers guy. He makes
No.
it makes sense.
Look,
It makes sense.
Numbers, of course, it makes sense. Look, but that does go to my point of Cole is right about him. Like he does this because of the numbers. He is
I
trying
just don't
to
see that as a total negative though. That's all. I'm
no.
saying.
Oh, it's not a total negative. And actually, I'm not necessarily saying he's wrong per se, but there might be a factor where you could say like it was over already. You did this to flaunt. Like this is you flexing more than you have to. I respect that you felt that you had to do this, and you know what? A lot of people probably wanted to see it. Like they crave the decimation of people.
I mean, it's the hottest song though.
Yeah.
It just happens, to be the hottest song.
Right. But in all fairness,
that's what I agree. Because like if it didn't start with Humble and like all these other old tracks as well, then I would be like, okay, yeah, all right, now he's beating it over the head. But he did start with some different music and then ended it on that. Okay,
I'll put it like this. All right, let's just say this. Yeah. Would you be upset if he didn't do it?
I think the world would have been upset.
I would.
You think so?
I would.
This isn't like some B-side track. Like this was the biggest song.
It isn't.
It's the biggest song in his career.
We got kids in first grade dancing to that.
You're right.
It just happens to be a diss.
But this goes back to my point where it's like, who made it be a very popular song though? Like, apart from all of us jamming to it and rocking with it, vibing to it, it goes back to that. Like, I'm still kind of like blown away that like entertainment is playing this song at venues and on TV. Like,
I think people are just. I think the real question. It's not
only
that. But I just think people are done with Drake. I think people are fed up with Drake.
I'll put it like this, bro. Like, I'll put it like this.
That's what it is.
Imagine this.
Something to that.
Imagine this. Imagine in some reality, some crazy reality. Let's just say it's some crazy reality. I'm trying to, because I think we're quick to dismiss the crazy parts about it because it's not us and it's somebody else reaping the consequence of this. Well, let's just say you're in the shoes of Ridicule, and there's a song out there. Let's just say, I don't know, man.
If I was Drake and somebody was calling me a pedophile, I would have came out and be like,
no, hold on. No, it's not even about pedophile. Like, take that out. It's not even that. Let's just say, I'm trying to find it in a way that it's relative to what this is, like what we do and what we, So let's just say a opposite channel that decided to talk shit about, I don't know, either you or Sil, and they're downplaying whatever, like, Sil, he calls himself a scooper, whatever, right? And somehow
that's actually happened. That's like
right. No, that's why
spitting facts right now. Hold on.
That's why I figured that'd be the closest thing to it I could think of. So let's just say that's that, right? And then somebody clips that, and it becomes somehow miraculously, it makes it even onto like the Joe Rogan podcast. You know what I'm saying? And then when he's interviewing Zack Snyder, he says, matter of fact, what do you think about you know what I'm saying? And somehow you're still the joke because somehow this clip of somebody talking about you and it
went viral.
And all of a sudden it's even being but even what they're talking about is even beyond just the scooper stuff. Like, but that's obviously what it is. But then there are now, tarnishing your characters. Like, this guy's always been a liar. He's a hypocrite. He lies about knowing people, whatever.
That's been said before.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, exactly. As I'm saying, I'm like, you know what? It's actually been said. So it works. So like that's what's making the rounds. And all of a sudden now it's on the Joe Rogan podcast while he's interviewing Zack Snyder. And this now is wherever Zack Snyder goes, this is the montage they play. Right. You know what I'm saying? If you were in that position and all of a sudden, even now your subscription followers and everything's going down, you'd be like,
I have one question.
I'm about to sue Zack Snyder, right?
right. Or somebody.
Wait, hold on. I have one question. I have a
Somebody.
question. Does Sil have allegations of being a liar and all that stuff as well? On top of that,
Well, it wouldn't matter in this case,
It
right?
wouldn't- it doesn't mean-
It's a viral clip.
It
It's
doesn't matter.
successful.
Right,
It doesn't even
so-
matter. It's just that it's
Yeah,
somehow
yeah.
now also being played on prominent like podcasts. It's even being played like wherever Zach is going, where any of those guys are going, wherever Brandon Affleck goes, wherever like this is the snippet that's played for some reason on prominent even on the Fallon show. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is what they're playing.
I'll probably have to fall back for like 90 days and then to come up with a hot scoop.
See, I told you I was right.
Come back with the hottest scoop of the century of your whole career, bro. Hey, but you know what I'm saying? It's at some point it seems overkill. You know what I mean? Like why are we even,
Right.
why is this even? You know what I'm saying? Like that's personally, if I'm being honest, that's how I feel about it right now. I'm like,
Well, I think that's
I
what
like
right
the
now-
track.
see,
I like it. I'm not a hater of it, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't feel like it's been overkill already. That it's like being, especially
That's
because
fair.
it's not a song that isn't what it is. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not a diss track. Like I just, we can't pretend that it's not that. And it's a diss track that has some crazy allegations. And this is what you're choosing to play on your stations, on your broadcast.
It's
You
a
know,
hot track.
it's hot. Obviously, I'm not saying it's not. It's, but you know what I mean? It's a crazy
This is why I
track.
say that though. Like,
You know?
what if it's one thing they're playing Not Like Us, and but then if they're doing like Meet the Grams, it's like, well, you're not gonna play that track over and over. That's like a sinister song.
yeah,
for
Like,
sure.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
so you know what?
Not Like Us
I have a good example.
had the
Back to back.
components.
Back to back. That shit was everywhere, and that was a diss
That
track.
was a
wasn't it?
club song.
Yeah, that was a club song, but it was a diss track.
Yeah,
was.
for
And
sure.
they played that
It
everywhere.
was.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It wasn't. But yeah.
But in that same notion, like it's
I mean,
just
is there a point where, again, like you said, enough is enough? Like I said, I think you reached it too soon, Vega. But I think
you
now,
think it's
after
still
the Super
good?
Bowl,
After
I
now,
think
you're
now
saying-
with the Super
Yeah.
Bowl, and he's saying game over. He did it at the biggest venue ever in the world.
he said,
As far as much view,
Right.
views worldwide,
Viewership,
everyone saw it.
yeah.
Now, if he comes out and let's say like I don't know if they had him go to the NBA All-Star game or something or whatever, they could have used Kendrick probably, and then he did it again. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Kendrick, like, come on, bro, you can't go to every event and keep doing this.
This man really want to bury Drake.
All right.
Yeah, it's like
So I got two questions
yeah.
here for perspective, though. Just because, but you're right. I think you're right. You might be right. I think maybe I'm just over it. It could just be me. Like I'm just
I think it's
just
I
got
think it's
overplayed
the
for
artist
me
in
personally.
people were playing it a lot. Yeah, they were playing it.
yeah. It's just been overplayed
But
for me
it's-
personally,
it's
and
just-
maybe this is just
I
me.
try.
And like, give me something different, please. Like, there's other good songs
Yeah.
out there. Don't like. Let's not pretend like this is the hottest track. It's not the hottest track.
and
really.
it crossed over too. You know what I'm saying? That's how big this was. Like, it wasn't
Yeah.
just the streets. It wasn't just hip hop. It's like you said, the
It
NBA
crossed
on
over
TNT.
yeah.
It crossed over to pop culture mainstream.
Yes.
You know,
Which is the crazy
and-
part for me, because I guess in my mind, this just goes to show how big hip hop is right now, though. Because,
Mhm.
and I say this because this didn't happen with Ether. You know what I'm saying?
No.
This didn't happen with Hit 'Em Up.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Songs that we can acknowledge are like, the hottest diss tracks out,
Yeah.
so one of
I mean,
in its time.
Hit 'Em Up has had that long lasting hit 'em up, but like you said with Ether, you wasn't going to hear that played on TNT. You know what I'm
You
saying?
weren't. That's my whole point. You made a
Soccer moms played Not Like Us.
right.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I
I'm
mean? That's the crazy part. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, man. There's
You
little
had all
babies
types of people
dancing to
crip
the
walking
video.
to this shit, blood walking, and it's like, what the? And again,
Yeah.
look, I get
Right.
it.
They don't
It's-
even know it's a blood walk. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I get it. Like the song's hot. It's
They
a
don't even
hot
know who
song.
Us
I
is
just,
in the
I just
song.
got over it. I'm like, why are you guys playing it everywhere I go?
They don't even
No,
know,
man, I'm
like,
in the grocery store. I'm in the grocery store hitting Not Like Us. Why am I hearing Not Like Us when I'm shopping for groceries?
They have
You
no
know
idea
what I'm
who's us.
You know what
They're
I'm
just saying.
saying?
They're just saying. They not y'all not like us.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what they're saying.
so y'all us now. Okay. That's why it's a great song. That's why it's
no, it is. And look, it's a testament really to the timing and just how well that song landed. It's the idea that a diss track would be as big as it became.
I think Gunn needs to hire Kendrick's marketing team. Honestly, I think that's what needs to happen.
Hey, like you said, timing. I mean, it was summer.
Yeah,
dropped like in the world's attention again with social media. They were looking at that beef like closely,
very closely.
So it's like whatever they drop, like it was going to trend on YouTube, Twitter, whatever.
100%.
And then you drop like again just the track, everything. The catchy A minor, like it was over. Once I heard that verse, at first I was like, "This is over." Like this, turn the TV off, right? Like it's over. Like that wasn't fair.
Right.
That wasn't fair.
Right. Oh man, honestly, I guess I'm just over it, man. I'm hearing it I've heard it everywhere I went. Everything I'm watching, it's like. It's in commercials. I'm like, what the hell, dude?
It was almost as bad as seeing Taylor Swift at all the Chief games.
That's how I felt. They know that's what it was like for me.
Now, that went too far last season. Was it last year? Last season, I was over that.
Yo, she was in
over the first
damn
season.
camera. Like, oh, dude, that was hilarious.
Yeah, man.
Well, guys, I don't want to keep you any longer than I have to. So, as much as there was other things to talk about, we'll have to end it here.
Next time.
We'll hop into the other discussions next time for sure. Because there's again, I want us to be able to chop it up about anything and everything, not just movies and music. Obviously, that's our caveat. I think that's you know what I'm saying. Obviously, that's what. Movies is what the movie thing is what brought us together, and then it just turns out we're very also into the music thing, and that's so it just seems like that's our it's our bread and butter. But obviously, definitely want to get into talks about other things too, man, like sports as well, politics, anything and everything that we can. Just because I like to get other people's perspective on things, different opinions. You get a gauge of where I guess. Maybe you guys might be thinking about something in a way that I'm not, which clearly that's how this conversation went, which is why I love having this conversation with you guys. We clearly each had our own antidote to add to the conversation, and I think it makes for good content and good thoughts for people to leave with. Like, all right, I didn't think about it this way, or that's something cool to think about. And and I don't know, maybe after talking to you guys, I don't know. Maybe I have to give that second trailer Superman Legacy another shot.
Watch our reaction. Our reaction, you might have a good, it was a good time. It was a good time for our reaction.
We don't see you in a couple weeks.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I have to watch it with you guys, and that's what it was. Maybe that's what I was missing. You know what I'm saying?
We'll see.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, I appreciate y'all hopping on with me, man, and having this conversation. Appreciate everyone who's watching with us. Till next time, we out of here. You already know what it is. Peace out.
Peace.
Martial arts, karate, I bust you down like Itachi. Cause you your Jin and Hachi. Trick kamikaze, I'm talking dead bodies as I go straight brawling. Y'all niggas could hardly be me, I'm not part of the sea. I'm part of the sea like Moses. No psychosis or hocus pocus. I put in potence to stay focused. Ignore all the BS on my timeline. I throw a lifeline for those thinking I ain't about mine. Hit you upside your head with a tie iron. Can't be your time if it's my time. They said to be patient, I'm patiently waiting. It's driving me crazy, cause lately the odds that I'm facing is basic and basically tragically hating. Anticipating my fall, they want it all for themselves. So I made the call, no need to stall. I go and get them all off of the shelf. I take affirmative action, I'm blasting and laughing of how you're reacting to my satisfaction of cashing injections and Benjis and Wilsons. The life that you always imagined. From the goal, yeah. If you ever see him go, it's Holocaust or Holy Ghost. Overcome or overflow, yeah. Either way it's overdose. Watch you walk or comatose, penetrating to jail with booty